Because number one, the Democrats, when Joe Biden was the face of the presidency,
right.
they gave it all to Ukraine, and during the Obama years, they closed off a lot of the reproduction of all that stuff that we had to have and everything. So we just weren't having enough missiles and stuff built for 15 years or more, and so we're to a point now, and this is I'm convinced now that President Trump stopped what he was doing a couple of months ago in Iran because we ain't got nothing left. And everybody's been talking about that. And you know what? This thing, I can read between the lines pretty well. And this thing that he talked about this weekend is an admission of that. And even JD went out to they're all pivoting toward this now. And I expect at any minute we're going to get, we declare victory, we're out. We're getting out of here. Shut it down and probably leave without the big prize of the nuclear thing. The minute that there's any movement on the strait and get some sort of guarantee the strait's going to be open, I think we're going to be done over there. What I'm talking about is that President Trump this weekend said that now we're going to keep a low-key approach to Iran. We're just going to talk to him sometimes. This is a complete hands-off approach, he said. We're going to use the economic pressure that we've had in there instead of the military. We're not going to use the military anymore in there. We are semi-negotiating with them.
Yeah.
Semi-negotiating.
I didn't think that's kind of an odd statement.
But there'll be no new attacks, and we're waiting for the economy to collapse in on them, which says to me, again, we're out of bullets and bombs, which is what we've been hearing, kind of the creep on us. And the way we stopped so quickly a few months ago spoke that. And I said it on the radio that, man, did we run out of bullets and bombs? And here is J.D. Vance yesterday with Kayleigh.
We're talking to the Iranians, of course. We're trying to maximize the amount of oil and gas that are coming out of the Strait of Hormuz. That's the thing that we're most focused on right now. And you see, I think, oil prices dipping around $80 a barrel today, sometimes a little bit lower. So we're just trying to make sure that we get what we need out of this particular conflict. If you go back and remember what it is that we've done here, we've destroyed their nuclear program, we've destroyed their conventional military, we've radically reduced their, what you might call their asymmetric military abilities, and right now we're trying to see if they're willing to make the kind of long-term changes that would be necessary to have a better relationship with the United States, and if not, that's fine too. We're just going to keep on applying the pressure that we can apply and getting as much oil and gas out of the Middle East so that Americans can enjoy lower gas and energy prices.
So that's where we are. We're going to keep applying the economic pressure that we are applying now, and it sounds to me like he's like giving a summation of everything that we got done. We did this and we did that, and get about ready to strike the set, as it were, and call it a day, it seems like.
Well, it sounded a bit like polishing a turd on that one, and the semi-negotiation thing was, a little weird. I don't know. I mean, I if that's what happens, then I'm not exactly sure what we did here. I mean, I agree that we, kicked the crap out of their nuclear program. It's not obviously anywhere close to where it was. And they weren't quite done when they were when we went in, as far as getting to the point where they could actually, build a weapon. If that's the way it plays out, I think that's very disappointing, because I'm not exactly sure what happened there. Because, like I say all the time, a guy like Donald Trump is a very anticipatory guy, and he's always thinking a few moves down the road. So I don't know why he wouldn't have seen this. Especially if they thought they had limited munitions go. They would have known going in that in a handful of months we're going to be limited on our munitions. So, I don't know, man.
One would have thought, I will say this, that we are, and I put it this way, 2 weeks ago, I said we moved 80 yards down the field, we're at the 20. And we stopped at the 20-yard line, which means we're 80 yards further than any other president got us.
Sure.
So, yay for him, if this is it, and now we declare victory and we go home and we say, hey, we're done with this, then okay, I wish we would go ahead and punch it in the end zone, but at least we're 80 yards further down the road, like you just said. We have caused a lot of harm to their nuclear program. It's not gone. It's not totally dismantled. They have the Pickaxe Mountain where they have still continued to build munitions and all that kind of stuff, and we may have to go back in with our B-1s and B-2s and B-18s and everything else in the future and drop some more stuff. But we are certainly further. He did more than any other president, and for darn sure he didn't give him any money like Barack was funding.
Sure.
Them. So
Netanyahu, though, is out there saying, "Oh no, they're not going to have a nuclear They're not going to have a nuclear weapon." So he says that's Israel. We don't have to negotiate with anybody. We don't have to. That's our standard. We're not going to allow them to have a nuclear weapon.
Right. And I think we feel the same way. It's just
we feel the same way. But I mean, the tone of that to me was like he's not exactly all that confident that the Americans are going to finish the job.
This weekend, it was definitely a switch over to the Strait, and if we get some sort of settlement on the Strait of Hormuz and get it open where all the oil and all the fertilizer and everything is flowing through there again, and we get some normality back into the markets, we start to see some change in the markets, I think Trump is ready. I really do, and especially politically, I think he's ready here back home.
To pull out, you mean, or to wrap it up?
Yeah, I think so. And I don't know, Sean. I don't have any inside info. I'm just reading all the tea leaves here, watching all these guys talk this weekend. And they're definitely here's what they're doing. We call it preparing the landing. They're softening the landing.
Well,
so,
there's definitely a change in tone.
This weekend they were definitely out there talking about how let's look at all of our accomplishments. Look how far we've gotten. Look at everything we've been able to accomplish and do.
Isn't this going to look like a loss?
I think the other side's going to make it out to be a loss.
It definitely is going to be portrayed that way. It's
a waste of money.
It's going. Well, it already is that, right? I mean, there's already people portraying it that way. But as I said. I like to use a football analogy because it's a picture you can hold in your head. He got us 80 yards down the field. That's 80 yards than any other president or quarterback has ever gotten us. So if we don't get their nuclear thing dismantled, we don't get the Strait or whatever, we're much better off than we were before.
Sure.
He became much
they're
better.
going to call him Taco Trump.
Sure they are. But you know what, Elaine? They're going to call him all that stuff anyway, right? I mean, the Democrats and the media in this country, and certainly the Iranians, I don't care what the Iranians say, but they're all going to call him that anyway, and it's not – who cares what they say at this point? They hate the man. Again, he could cure cancer, and they're going to go, oh, he cured cancer. I can't believe he'd do something like that. So poor cancer, So that's just who they are, so they're going to do that anyway. I don't know. It just seems to me they're softening. JD wasn't the only one in the administration. Our UN ambassador was doing it this weekend. A whole bunch of other people were on the tube this weekend going, well, we've done so much there, and now and some of the writers, in the New York Post and elsewhere, you've got writers who are saying we're out of munitions. We're done. We don't have any.
Right.
If China decides to go crazy on Taiwan, we wouldn't be able to do it.
I saw something on that. Observably so. There's a change in tone here. And you wonder what happened. Did he go into this really thinking that if I blow the crap out of some stuff, I start strangling them economically, they'll fold? Because if that's the case, and didn't, you know what I mean? Like this would have been wrapped up by now. Mm-hmm. Not this close to the midterms. If that's the case, that was a pretty bad miscalculation, given the history of the religious nuts we're dealing with. I mean, they are religious nuts. They will sit around for 1,000 years and wait for their moment to take you out. So if that's the case, I think it's unfortunate. But I mean, I agree with you and with what you're hearing this weekend that, well, yeah, we've done more. He's done more. Mm-hmm. Anybody else, their ability to make a nuclear weapon is dramatically diminished. But I think ultimately it comes out as a kind of a boondoggle in that sense. So because the politics of it is going to be what Elaine's saying.
Sure, of course.
Well, he wasted all this money and he killed a bunch of people for no reason.
But again, to both of you, they're going to say that anyway.
Well, they are, yeah. Right. But now they can actually point to video and point to JD's statements and say, "See, they're backing out."
Well. So you got just two key phrases in his statement. This is him. This is the president. We're keeping a low-key approach now.
Yeah.
Which means, okay, no more bombs and stuff. And I'm semi-negotiating with them. You take those two statements out of what he had to say, and that is I'm telling you, that's a hard turn. That is a definite turn in where we have been.
Well, it's a bit of a turn from it's going to be the biggest attack since World War II.
Right. Exactly. which was the 13th time he had said that.
Right.
So, I mean, that's – but again, Elaine, they're going to – the Democrats are going to, do that to him anyway, so what do you care?
It looks like and sounds like a loss.
Sure.
I don't think it's a loss
Looks
at
like
all.
a duck and
I know.
sounds like a duck.
I know, but it's not necessarily a loss, Christian. But that's the way they're going to portray it.
Yeah.
And they're going to do that.
What was
anyway.
the victory? What was the victory?
Well, I mean, the victors are what we're talking about. They have diminished, greatly diminished their ability.
No, but
to
what was the victory
make
supposed
war.
to look like that didn't happen, that results in a perceived loss?
Whomever is running the
Obliteration of
country being gone.
And they're gone.
Well, fair point.
Yeah, they're gone.
It's not very dramatic.
I agree.
It feels milk toasty.
It's
it feels
not
like,
cinematic. It's not Rambo.
Right.
But no nuclear program, supreme leader dead, no military,
Right.
and all those ports shut off. Iran suffocating still.
Actually, I'm
That's the
hearing
plan.
that the Supreme Leader's son is still alive, and they're going to show proof of
I don't
life
believe
this
it.
week.
No, that's the one I'm
I don't
talking about.
believe it.
He's
They put
not
out a
like
alive.
video.
Weekend at Bernie's?
They put
No.
the homosexual.
They'll
Yeah,
prop
there you
him
go.
up. He's actually dead. They'll prop his eyes open with AI.
The homosexual you talking about? No, they put a video out. They put a video out this weekend, and that's not real. That's an old video. If it's not AI, no, I can tell you right now. I watched it a
I
number
don't think
of times.
he's alive.
Huh?
No, I don't think he's alive.
He's not alive.
Yeah,
I think it's
I-
Weekend at Bernie's.
He got blown up with his daddy. That's
And
what
if
happened.
Ted Cruz has his way, which he may not, if they start arming the Iranian people,
Well, okay, so now you open up something else we got to explain because, and I got to take a break. But Ted Cruz says let's arm the Kurds, and I don't
Right.
care what Turkey says.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we already tried that, and they didn't take the arms and go. We tried that
We did.
early on in the conflict. We gave them weapons, and then they didn't do anything about it. I agree with you, Christian, that like I said, we're on a 20, and we didn't punch it in by just decimating everything over there, but we made some unbelievable progress that hadn't been made since 1979. It's a big deal what we were able to accomplish. I'm concerned that we have low munitions, and that if something else happens somewhere, like a Taiwan or whatever, or even here, what are we gonna do? And that's what we need to pay attention to. All right, we'll take a quick break. I want to tell you about River City Oral Surgery. At River City Oral Surgery, get 623, it's Ware and Rima, KTSA.
Well, I feel intellectually a little slower today because there was just way too much Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez this weekend. The egg freezing the eggs. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
It is really interesting to watch somebody run their mouth about women's reproductive rights and freezing their eggs. And I know the whole egg freezing thing is a whole other story about, careerism versus family and all that stuff. But watching her run her mouth about women's bodies, and yet if you were to ask that woman directly, what is a woman? She wouldn't answer it. Do you know what I mean? She wouldn't answer it if you asked her. Okay, you're talking about women's bodies and sovereignty over it and all that stuff, and I guess Donald Trump wants your eggs. I don't know, but if that's who you are, what's a woman, Alexandria? Can you define what a woman is? I'm sure you'd get some rambly answer that's nonsensical, which is pretty much what you got from her anyway for the rest of the weekend. And the other thing, when she's talking to Jonathan Karl, who obviously likes her. I mean, do you know what I mean?
Well, sure.
Likes her.
It's ABC.
But I mean, likes her. That guy was drooling, man. That was embarrassing. But he asks, they get into the socialism versus communism question. And he asks her, what's the difference? Because you're a Democrat. So first off, he says, do you agree with the DSA's platform? And she's like, well, I'm a member of the New York DSA, and that's different. You're hanging out with your buds and your bras and your neighbors, and whatever. But he gets down to the question, and he played a bunch of video of folks, on our side talking about communism. And he asks her, what's the difference between socialism and communism? And her answer was democracy.
Right. Because that would be the answer, right?
Democracy is somehow the separating factor from communism as opposed to socialism. And these are the people that want to, pick the president through through the House of Representatives. They want to get rid of the Senate. The Supreme Court and the House would pick the president. They want to get rid of the Senate. I'm sure they want to get rid of the Electoral College. These are also the people who are systematically attempting to cheat elections and have been for quite some time. But somehow, magically, democracy is the separating factor between communism and socialism, which doesn't make any logical sense at all.
So when they got to defunding the police and all that other stuff she has said before that she wants to do.
Yeah.
Her answer was, well, woke number one, that was really crazy. I've got all this, by the way, on sound. I'll get to it later. Woke number one was really crazy. We're in a different phase now, so they're doing a Tallarico.
Yeah,
pay no attention to what I said before.
COVID.
Right.
She blamed COVID for the defund the police stuff.
Right.
Wow, things were so different during COVID, and everybody's on lockdown, and it was weird, and so, people were saying things during that era that they wouldn't normally say.
Mm-hmm.
I swear to God, Trey, I feel dumber when I watch that person. I feel dumber.
Well, the only question that he left, and he asked her, was, are you going to run for president in 2028? So
I don't doubt she will.
She will. She'll be on the ticket. Let me tell you about our friends over at Amity Bank. Amity Bank. say it's Monday, August 10th. Well, let me put it this way. The WNBA. Couple of big things stood out to me this weekend with the WNBA. There was a bunch, I'm sure, but a couple of big things really stood out to me. One was Caitlin Clark getting a technical foul when she didn't come anywhere near a referee for allegedly running into a referee. But it didn't happen. It was all made up. They gave her a technical foul. So, well, whatever. But the other one was Sophie Cunningham getting clotheslined by Dejana. Is that how you say her name?
Dejana?
Yeah, Dejana.
Dejana.
So she's her dad was in the NFL, mom was a preacher, and dad's a preacher now, and all that stuff. And then she clotheslined her, hit her right in the mouth. She's gushing blood and the whole thing. And she's the princess of the WNBA at the moment, the pointing princess, I call her. And Dejana got kicked out. It was a flagrant number 2, so she was kicked out. And immediately she said, "Well, that's white privilege. It's white privilege is the reason I got kicked out." And the lily white cracker got to stay. Okay, whatever you think. This thing is a you-know-what show at the moment, but some of it I'm beginning to believe is an intentional you-know-what show. Some of it I am beginning to believe is a little more they're playing this stuff up.
Scripted?
What?
Staged?
Yeah,
scripted?
I'm thinking that more of this is starting to look more roller derby and wrestling because nobody even considered the WNBA until the controversy started. And I think what happened was the controversy started out of honesty, that they didn't like Caitlin Clark. They hated her, and they were beating on her. But then when they saw what happened to the ratings and the clicks after they started to treat her that way, they went, oh, hey, we got an opportunity here. And we all remember roller derby back in the day where you had girls that were riding around in circles, knocking the thunder out of one another, and everybody couldn't. It was like a car crash. Everybody had to watch it. So I'm going to file a lot of this in that category over there as far as – now, I'm not saying the hit on Sophie was not a real hit. It was a real hit, and she laid into her. But then the response and how the WNBA handled it, even her own coach, Sophie's coach, was like, hey.
One of the things about Nay is that she's going to play her butt off, man. She's going to compete. Nobody's going to go walking in for a layup. And so I don't oppose the hard foul, but I also don't think that she intentionally went for the net.
I don't think she intentionally went to the I don't think she intentionally went to the neck. Ha, 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 ha.
Have you ever heard an NBA coach talk like that?
Well, first of all, as a coach, you have your players back no matter what.
Yeah, exactly.
You have your players back. Stephanie White, though, was asked a couple of weeks ago about girls and boys playing in the league, and she said, well, I'm not educated enough to tell you what a girl is.
Well, here we are again. Yeah, well, right back to where we started.
So, look, I think I am going to join with Royce White and the others. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to declare for the draft. Aaron Cantor, he declared, and Royce White declared.
Earlier this week, I made the announcement. I'm transgender. I'm a woman. I identify as sometimes identifying as a woman for purposes of basketball, professional basketball. So I'll be declaring for the WNBA draft in 2027 as well.
And I'm with him. Of course, he played in the NBA, but his NBA career is over with now. And Royce, I'm with you. I'm going to go ahead and declare to play in the WNBA.
Why are you getting involved, and how did the WNBA even get to this point?
You know, right now I'm just having a blast in my feminine era. I never thought that I was a woman. You know, I've always trusted the science, and I thought I was a man my entire life. But you know, after further review, strong look at my personal preferences. Yeah. It would appear that I am indeed sometimes identifying as a transgender woman, and I think it's only fair I get a chance to play with some of my queens here in the twilight of my career, my athletic prime.
I think he's absolutely right.
Go do it.
And you know, I think all of us ought to have that chance.
It's astounding that the WNBA can't define the W in the name. And I think we're going through a very necessary conversation about who's actually eligible to play in some of these professional sports leagues, I guess on both sides of the gender spectrum. My goal is to help elevate the WNBA. I think the ticket prices and the attendance will soar. I think the audience, the live audience will increase. And I think ultimately it's good for the game. It's going to help evolve the game. I mean, who would argue that, a player like myself or an Enes Kanter, or in the future maybe even I don't know, a LeBron James.
Hey, okay, now listen, there you go. This is where I was going with this.
So all the hard work that Riley Gaines has tried to do, all the women that have spoke up, is just you're back to the home base where the men are just making fun of you guys. So all that hard work.
No, it has nothing to do with that.
The men are making fun of these women because they want to be.
Not making
they
fun of
want
the
to
women.
join.
I get that point.
Yeah, that's not it.
Not making fun of the women.
They're making fun of the politics of
making
it.
fun of the league.
Well, how are you going to deny a woman telling you that the men are making fun of these women? They're making fun of them.
No,
They're
not.
making fun of the league.
They're making fun of the league. The league is the one that's telling that's saying the league is showing their hypocrisy. They're saying, guys should be able to play with the girls. So guys say, okay, I'm ready to play. And they go, no, guys can't play over here. So which is it?
That's it.
Either they're going to allow guys to play like they say they will until guys actually show up to play. And then they go, no, you guys can't come play. So actually, Elaine, these guys doing this is helping the league because they're going to bring purity back to the sport. Because when they say no guys allowed, then that's what they mean, and it doesn't matter if you wear a dress and makeup. He said, Royce said, my wig is in the mail. It's coming, So
my wig is in the mail.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So what he's doing and what Arist is doing and the rest of them that are saying, I'll come play, they're actually helping the girls in that league because they're going to keep guys out.
Well, I think it's damn near like social political art that they're doing it. I mean, it's really interesting to watch. Of this chick that, smacked Sophie in the face and the whole race card, it's white privilege and all that. I'm so sick and tired. You said it. Her mom's a pastor of some kind. Her dad was a player of some kind. She comes from a nice house. She's nice home. Was a prep school girl. I get tired of prep school girls like her and Jasmine Crockett, who I got to pour on the blackness, in moments like this, and it's white privilege and all that stuff. That gets old. But of the original point that it's kind of interesting they're calling out the league itself on this gender stuff is hilarious. And when that broke on Friday, I was laughing my ass off. Good on them. That's funny.
Well, it just goes to show the hypocrisy of that entire movement.
Well, it's silly. It's nonsensical. It's a nonsensical movement. It doesn't make any damn sense at all.
And pointing that out, these guys are doing, is actually going to help the girls in the sport. We have to restore the fact that boys are boys and girls are girls, and you can't just say I'm a girl now. And they're going to prove that, Right. But the whole thing, though, the league itself. I'll go back to my original point, and that is, they started out with these acts of ludicrous nature. They started out with that being really genuine, and then they realized, wow, we're getting a lot of ratings and a lot of clicks. So then they started to build on that, and they really did. They threw some roller derby in there. They threw some wrestling in there, all that other stuff, and now they've got a mess on their hands.
Well, weren't they, though, getting additional viewership, or people were paying attention to them initially just because of Caitlin Clark?
Somewhat.
A little bit, but not like now. No, they
not like now.
Yeah, really seriously, it was still girls basketball, which is not that popular. It's just not. I mean, be mad if you want to, but it's just not. It's not up there with the WNBA.
Well, no.
And with the NBA, with the NFL, and all those others, it's just not all that popular.
Well, I had a woman tell me over the weekend, say, it's really sucks in general for women's sports because had they just played great basketball, maybe that would have won the day ultimately, and then it became all this other roller derby-esque nonsense. So, the players who are engaging in that, aren't they hurting women's sports by doing that?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's hard to know, but the whole trans thing is definitely hurting women.
Well, yeah.
Right?
But I mean, players attacking other women because they're really good at playing basketball. I think that's probably not very good for their league either.
No, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they should have dealt with this more harshly at the very beginning. So, anyway, I think these guys are actually helping bring purity, more, because they're not going to let these guys play.
Well, no, they're obviously not. No.
And so if they're not going to let these guys play, then the girls are protected.
Well, but this is something we haven't seen yet in this entire discussion. Okay, you're always seeing women trying to get into men's sports, right? And that's a comfortable place to be for a lot of folks. But when dudes start showing up to play on women's leagues, okay, they pretty much have talked themselves into their own situation. They invited this crap, in a sense, by the debate itself.
Yeah. Well, it's a mess.
Well, yeah, it's certainly that. I don't give a crap either way.
I don't either.
It doesn't matter to me, but it's kind of fascinating to watch.
If they were to let Royce play and put on a wig and play, I might watch for 10 minutes just to see. It might be fun. I understand LeBron James is looking for a team. He could change his name to LeBron.
It's going to settle the argument real quick.
I'm telling you.
Well, it will. I mean, that's what's
you.
fascinating about it.
100%.
Dudes
man.
are going to score 200 points.
Well, it's like we've always said, the NBA has never gone out and sought any women.
Not once.
No, they haven't.
Nor has the NFL.
Right.
They've never done it.
Nope.
But the other way around, guys who can't compete against other guys, they're always playing in girls' sports.
We talk about that constantly. And they're winning championships and trophies and all that happy crap.
Yep. So this will bring some sanity to it all, I think. I hope. Anyway, I'll tell you about my friends over at Window World. Beautiful window. 6:50, Ware and Rima, Monday, KTSA.
Well, I imagine we'll be getting to some of the other political stories. Paxton was at the Angry Elephant with Donna Campbell, who had a great line that we got to save Texas because there's no other Texas to move to.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted, before we'll do that, I imagine later on, I wanted to hit a couple of stories that are smaller stories, but you and I talk quite a bit about good guys with guns. And we had a couple of stories where a good guy with a gun saved the day. We got a guy in Utah who went to buy beer, I guess, at a store, a convenience store. I'm not sure why they denied they wouldn't sell him any beer, so he left, and he came back with a shotgun. And another guy with a legal weapon, or his own weapon, was able to stop him before he killed a bunch of people, shot him dead. You have a delivery food driver in Florida who was getting robbed by a guy, and he shot him dead. That was on Thursday. These are a couple of stories I was looking at over the weekend, and it's something that you and I talk a lot about. In that, especially depending on how things go tomorrow night and how things go, obviously in November, these people want your guns. They want your guns. They want your gun rights. They want to take that stuff away from you. We know this. We talk about it often. But time and time again, you see situations where somebody who is a legal gun owner is able to save the day when somebody else pulls out a gun and wants to start killing a bunch of people. Mm-hmm. I know for myself, I kind of first experienced constitutional carry when I was in Colorado. Oddly, as the state, got more and more blue, they did have open carry. And when I lived in Colorado, it was around the time, because I'd never handled guns in my life. My brothers and my dad did, but I just had never handled a gun. And until Colorado, and I started getting training and going to the range and, developed a whole nother attitude about weapons. And it's when I started to take notice of the constitutional carry in Colorado, or open carry law in Colorado. And I know that when I was in a store and I saw a guy with a piece on his hip, I kind of knew that, hey, we're safe here because this guy obviously is a trained citizen who is arming themselves. So time and time again, we see this situation, just like we did the other week, where somebody is getting ready to do a bunch of death dealing and a good guy with a gun intervenes. So in Utah and Florida, we had a couple of good outcomes because of that. There was also, though, another another story, and I'm not laughing because it's actually pretty brutal, but again, in Florida, dude, you had a hatchet and machete fight where a couple of dudes...
No, you had a stupid fight.
You had a stupid fight.
This was stupid.
You had a couple of dudes. One is dating a woman, and the ex-boyfriend shows up, and he has a machete. He hits the dude. Everett Critchbaum and James Gay.
Couple of real winners when you see them.
Yeah, and they literally get into a machete and hatchet fight over a woman. And I'm not being misogynist, or maybe I am, but I saw pictures of the woman in question. And one of these guys is in his 50s. The guy who's currently dating the woman is in his 50s. The other guy is in his 30s. And I guess the machete guy was unhappy with hatchet guy dating his ex, and so they got into it. But looking at her, I don't know that, and this, again, might be, I'm going to preface this, I might be being completely misogynist, but I don't know that there's a person there at the center of this worthy of a hatchet and machete fight. That's all I'm saying.
Well, they're not. Neither one of those guys are winners
None
either.
Of them, yeah, right.
So, but I only wish the guy with the machete would have unsheathed it. That way, they could have taken each other out and really improved the gene pool. We need a little bit. We need some purification of the gene pool every once in a while.
That's a little eugenics-y, but I mean, I get the point.
Well, that's okay with me.
I get the point, but, if you're going to get into a hatchet and machete fight, I'm just saying, maybe you just make sure. she's worth it.
The stupidity of people doesn't. I mean, I wish I could sit here and say I am shocked and surprised at how stupid people can be, but I'm not.
Oh, I'm not
the depth
either.
of depravity and the stupid people. I look at this and I go, you realize how stupid that is? It's like these people who get in fights at airports, and they start knocking the crap out of each other or on a cruise ship. You realize how stupid that is? You're on a freaking cruise ship. This is a first world problem. Maybe somebody didn't give you the salt shaker when you asked for it. I don't know what it was, but how bad can life be on a cruise ship where you start beating the snot out of each other?
Yeah.
And the same thing is true here. If the relationship ain't working out, you know what? Just go have a good day somewhere else with somebody else. That's the
either
whole
go
thing.
meet somebody else or have some alone time and enjoy your own self, know, and don't worry about being in a relationship.
Exactly right, man. Oh, God.
Yeah, that was funny. Of the cruise ship, though, I did see I was going to bring this up later as well, but I saw a story. We were talking on Friday about the $20 burrito debate and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I saw a story about somebody who was in an airport and got a $20 piece of avocado toast, which when he got $20, when he got it, it looked like, basically a slice of white bread with a little bit of a spoonful of guac on it. And they're making a big deal out of it. But as far back as I can remember, airports overcharge for stuff. I mean, you always pay more for stuff at an airport, don't you?
Because it's much more expensive to operate a restaurant in an airport. I try not to eat in an airport if it's possible. I try to tank up before I go.
Right.
And then I get off airport property before I go eat because it costs them a lot of money to run those restaurants there. Yeah, so it's going to be more expensive.
That's what I thought was funny about this story. It's like you're shocked that you're paying that much for a piece of avocado toast in an airport.
You know what it was? The Post needed a story.
Apparently, they needed to take up some space.
They needed a story, and they got one.
The $20 burrito controversy had a little more meat to it.
More Ware and Rima coming up, KTSA.
When you want the best, when you want to
Well, a couple of things on the politics of the day. You mentioned in the last half hour that Ken Paxton was in town at the Angry Elephant. He got shouted off the stage basically by some hecklers that were over there. We'll get into that in a second. Rhino John Thune over the weekend sent the senators home for 37 days. I've been complaining about this for months, for about 3 months now. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Well, you know, he gives the American people both middle fingers, and sends the senators home for 37 days with no Save America Act being passed, of course. And now when they get back at the end of August, beginning of September, you can forget about trying to get it passed and getting it implemented in time for the midterms, which was their plan. They ran out the clock on this deal, and so they screwed the American people. But look, that's what Republicans do. Democrats do it worse than anything, but Republicans will screw the American people as well, and that's exactly what they're doing. He also scheduled 11 pro forma sessions while they're out to prevent President Trump from being able to do recess appointments. For those who don't know how this works, basically, if they are just gaveling in a session and then gaveling it right back out, that means they've had a session and they're not in recess. They have to be out for a certain number of days, and then it's considered an official recess, and then the president can do what's called a recess appointment, which he won't have to have approval from the Senate to put people in place. They are woefully behind on his appointments, particularly judicial appointments, and we see every day how important a president's judicial appointments are, because how many times a day do I sit here and do a story about how something got overturned by an Obama judge? Well, here's an example. The Obama judge who told him you can't build the ballroom. They got a mess with the ball, finishing off this ballroom, and the president, is appealing that decision. But every day we hear of an Obama or Biden judge that is screwing something up this way. And so John Thune sent the senators home, but one. You only have to have one. Get this. This is how the stupid rules work. You only have to have one senator, and that senator just gavels the session in and then gavels it right back out, and that's considered a session of Congress. Think about that.
Right.
And it prevents what's called a recess appointment. So bringing it back to Texas, James Talarico said some crazy stuff again. We'll get into that, but so did Ken Paxton. You and I quote Jack a lot on this show because we listen to him at 10 o'clock.
I've been using Jack for show prep for 16 years or 13 years.
Well, he said something on Friday that was spot on once again. He does it all the time. And full credit to him. He said, you know what, chances are really good the Republicans are going to lose, and it doesn't matter what happens in Iran. It doesn't matter what happens anywhere else. It has to do with the economy. It always, James Carville got that right. It's the economy, stupid. And when the prices are as high as they are, there's nothing that you can do to fight that. And he made an outstanding point. That with all of the stuff that's going on, the socialist stuff and the communist stuff and all that, average everyday Americans who are paying prices that are way too high, like we were talking about the $20 burrito and all that, they're not going to care about all the socialist stuff. They're going to go, I'm going to give the other guy a shot at lowering my prices. And I don't care what party he's with or whatever. I'm just going to give him a chance because maybe he's going to be able to bring these prices down. Jack's right. So Ken Paxton was on with Maria Bartiromo yesterday, just a little bit of it. Just a little bit.
And Texas AG, Ken Paxton. Ken, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. And, of course, this is a state that President Trump won. Why is this race so close, and what are you doing about it?
Ken?
Yeah, look, it's it's a different environment. Midterm elections are always challenging. They've been challenging in the past. Ted Cruz 6 years ago won his race by 2 points, and he was an incumbent. So it gets challenging sometimes in midterm elections. But we're going to win this. We have to win this for the country. We have to win this for really holding on to the U.S. Senate.
Yeah, tell me about that. How important is the Texas race in terms of the Republicans keeping the majority in the Senate?
Look, I don't think they can hold on to it unless we hold Texas. And obviously that would send a terrible message to elect a Democratic Socialist from Texas. Now, obviously this guy is hiding his true views that he's held for the last 10 years in the Texas House, and he's been on interviews. You cover just a small number. I mean, there are literally hundreds of things that he said similar to which you already posted. And those are the things we need to let voters know, because most voters don't know. The mainstream media, as Trump would call the fake media, they're not exposing his real record. And right now, he's been on TV because he's got a lot of money coming in from California and other liberal states. So he had $30 million. When I finished my race, I had zero. So we're trying to get help from all over the country. So go to kenpaxton.com and help us, because we need help.
So tell me about the Republicans in the Senate. Are they helping you right now? Are you in touch with Senate leadership?
They've been very supportive. I've talked to Senator Thune, I've talked to Senator Scott, and many others. Been very supportive. They are planning on spending money here, is my understanding. I don't control that. We can't necessarily coordinate with them. So I'm optimistic that they'll come in soon, because as we're raising money, we're working our way back into October, which is where we can spend money, and we're trying to work our way back to September. But we need help now, because James Tallarico has been spending $3 or $4 million a week on TV for the last month. So I want to compete. I want to be able to tell people exactly what he believes, because I am convinced when Texas know those issues and know what he actually believes, he will not be elected in the state of Texas.
Well, explain the difference between your policies and
Finally.
Tallarico's policies. He's trying to tell us that he is a moderate, but some of his past statements don't reflect that. So make the case right now to our viewers and to those in Texas why your policies are very different from Tallarico's.
Okay. First of all, everybody's asleep now because he is a dull, boring dude, okay?
You and I have the exact same. I'm like,
God.
I watched him at the Angry Elephant. I watched him there. He is. Don't ever put Brandon Herrera before that guy.
He's a terrible candidate. He's an awful candidate. Now, I liked what he did as Attorney General. I like what he's continuing to do as Attorney General. But as far as a candidate, this guy is awful. He's dull and he's boring. And why in the hell do you wait so long for Maria Bartiromo to basically beg you to tell the difference between you and Tallarico? That's the first thing that comes out your mouth. They turn a red eye on you, and you go, this guy thinks that God is every gender in the world. This guy wanted Mary to abort Jesus. This guy wants to chop up children in hospitals across the state of Texas. This guy wants to open your border. He wants to get rid of prisons. He wants to get rid of police. All these things he voted for. What was your question, Maria?
Well,
that's it.
Here's my takeaway from Paxton, both, again, at his appearance, the rally, and that interview, which, was pretty dry, man. Okay, he is not a dynamic guy. And if you look at what everybody else was doing, you look at what AOC was doing, you look at what El Sayed was doing, they were talking about affordability. They were talking about the economy. Whatever you asked either of those people, they would pivot back to the economy. And Ken, you put Brandon Herrera before him, and Paxton comes up, he disappears. He has no what clicked in my head was the idea that I suddenly get why you don't see Ken Paxton out as much, because we were talking about that he's not, he's campaigning, but he's obviously not got as much of a presence as a guy like Tallarico, who himself is not the most interesting guy personality-wise. But Paxton, he's
question
dry,
is,
man.
Ken, do you want the job or not? Because what you're projecting right now is you don't want it. I'm looking at you, and every time I've seen him speak, it's like this. I'm going, bro. And also on X and these other social media sites, he's doing these videos, and they don't even have a microphone on him, Sean. He's doing these videos with the microphone on the phone, and so he's like 6 feet away. You can't hear him. You cannot hear what he's saying. Put a lavalier on him, or let him hold that little fuzzy bug lavalier and let him say what he's got to say. But, dude, you have got to kick it up. You have got to show some enthusiasm, like you want this job, like it's the most important thing in your life right now. Because if you don't show that, you're not going to encourage Republicans to get out and vote for you. You've got to get them inspired. They got to get the enthusiasm level up, and you ain't doing it. You're not bringing it. You're not doing your part, man.
Well, again, that was my big takeaway. He's got two big weights around his neck, his personal baggage, which that came up with one of the hecklers and you were cheating on your wife and all that crap. And he does not have a dynamic personality at all. I mean, he's being pretty dry. And the same word came into my head that when I was watching him, dull. He's very dull. And, yeah, she pretty much had to drag him out into the final reel of the interview about, Tallarico and the differences between him. I mean, it was boring as hell. I know it's surface level stuff and it's TV stuff, but if you want to whip people up into, a passion to give that vote to you, you gotta have a little more energy going, dude.
Any salesperson who knows what they're doing will tell you that energy and enthusiasm sells more than the product.
Well, yeah.
Doesn't matter what the product is. If you are jazzed and you're fired up about it, and he's clearly not, it's like, I don't care if I win this thing. What I got out of that was, I don't care if I win this thing or not. I could care less. I could give two spits whether or not I win. And I'm going, dude, you have got to step out there. You look at an El Sayed, okay, just as an example. You could tell that boy was into what he was doing. He had it going on.
He's got some charisma going.
Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to get this. I'm going to win this. I'm going to win this. I'm going to win it. This guy's like, I don't care if I win or not. It doesn't matter to me.
Well, yeah, he
Please,
came off really mushy, and this is not the battle. Again, you look at the people that got up on stage at the Angry Elephant before him. Donna Campbell, Brandon Herrera. By the time Paxton got up and started talking, it's like the whole thing was over.
Yeah, so, it may be, like Jack said Friday, it may be already done anyway because of the economy, and he's probably right about that. It may already be the deal, and there's no way they're going to save it. They can just, they want to choose somebody else. But at least try. That's all I'm asking for, man. When you step on the field, give 110%. You're just walking. You got your hands on your hips, and you're walking. You ain't gone out for the first pass yet, Ken.
I agree.
Yeah.
He was boring as snot, and this is not the moment. I mean, I don't know what his personality's like. I've never met the man. I don't know if that's how he is normally and all the time. But if you're going to run for the U.S. Senate and you're going up against a weirdo like Tallarico, you got to be a little more dynamic.
Well, even if your personality is a little more laid back or whatever, you got to act. You got to go. I'll reach down, pull it out. Oh, here's some more.
Some Red Bull, man.
Something. Something. All right, quick break. I want to tell you about Stevens Roofing. Ware and Rima, KTSA.
Well, I guess I got a couple of techie stories to take a break from politics for a moment. I'm sure this made you happy. Guadalupe County has voted to terminate their flock camera program. And they're saying it's just costing them too damn much money to replace them and repair them because people are destroying them.
Nationwide.
And vandalizing them. This is not going over well.
Nowhere.
With folks. So they're going to be S-canning that. And again, their stated reason is it's going to cost us too much money to replace the damn cameras.
Mm-hmm.
Because, at the least, people are spray painting the damn things. And at the worst, they're just tearing them down and stomping on them and taking hammers to them.
Driving over them with
their vehicles. So I think you're going to get your wish that eventually this is not going to be something that anybody's going to want to invest in at the city level, any city level. The other one I saw, New Orleans has announced they're going to be there was some wonky reporting on this that they're going to be they're using AI for 911 calls. And what they're actually doing is they're using it to triage calls and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Because the original reporting was they're going to go AI with 911 calls, and people had a reaction to that. And for me personally, I'd rather have a human being on 911 if I call them up. But I don't, also, I'm not so naive as to believe that this is absolutely where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolute. You're going to call 911, and absolutely at some point you're going to be talking to someone who ain't there.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you're already talking to people who aren't there when you're talking to your bank or you're doing a customer service call for something to any given company. At least the front end is almost all, as far as I can tell, is almost always an AI voice. I personally like the idea of ultimately getting to a place where AI is handling these calls. Probably not, because you're dealing. If somebody's calling 911, it's a human being in crisis of one form or another. And you and I, over the years, have both seen stories where they play the audio of somebody interacting with somebody from 911, and something horrible is happening, and they're comforting them and talking to them. I'm sure AI will be able to replicate a lot of that stuff, but I know it's coming. It's coming at some point. It won't just be triaging calls. It'll be 911, AI handling that stuff. How do you feel about that?
I'm good with it because it doesn't make a mistake.
Right.
Humans have that human factor, the human error that they can make. And we had that case last week where they were telling the guy, everything's going to be fine. It's all going to be good. Don't worry, And the next thing you know, he's dead. The guy comes back and kills him. Everything's fine. Don't worry. Everything's going to be fine. And then the dude shows back up and kills him.
Where was that? I didn't see that one.
We talked about it briefly. I'll try to pull the story back up. But with AI, I know, for example, my medication with my pharmacy. I never talk to a human being, and they have yet to screw the medication up. AI has yet to mess it up. I get the bottle, and it's got the right number of pills in it. It's got the right pills and the right number of pills in it. So I don't know. I feel like we're gonna lock out a lot of human error and stuff like this that is just rote. Some of these people that do these jobs that are just rote jobs, 24 hours, they space out a little bit, they check out a little bit. They're not as focused as we would like for them to be. And with AI, you've got consistency, So
sure, it's going to be wonderful. I mean,
well, I don't know about that, but
I know I'm being funny. I think
still
it's
have reservations.
I think it's inevitable. I mean, we do our pharmacy stuff with the local HEB, and they've never messed up an order. I mean, we've had some issues with which doctor to call and stuff like that, and it's always a person when you call them up. But I also know that AI is taking over everything, and jobs like that. Why, of course, it's going to go to AI.
And I'm not saying I don't have reservations about AI.
Right.
I do have reservations about AI.
Okay.
Yeah. So I do. But in certain jobs, I feel like it doesn't scare me. It doesn't bother me that it's going to be doing certain things in our lives. Okay, fine. So it's going to be handling this. It's going to be handling that. But I have other reservations. We've talked about a lot of that. We're going to run out of time here in a minute. But I feel like for these rote jobs that it's going to be fulfilling some of this stuff, it doesn't bother me. It's like, okay, fine, let it do it.
I just look at it as an inevitability. It's going to be handling most of the crap in your daily life that you have to deal with whether it's paying a bill
Sure.
or paying your mortgage or getting emergency help or going to the doctor or any of that stuff.
It's going to be huge.
It is. It's already here. So it's whether I like it or hate it is irrelevant to the reality of it. Absolutely, it's irrelevant how I feel about it.
Well, and look, it's smart to have reservations about the overall picture of it, but in particular cases here and there, I think it's going to work out just fine. It's kind of like autopilot an airplane. We've flown in airplanes many, many thousands and thousands of miles, and autopilot is flying the airplane, which is, that's a form of AI, if you will, and it does a really good job. So,
well, it's a fool's errand to think that you can stand in the way of this kind of technological evolution. I mean, look at what social media is our freaking lives.
That's
now.
right.
I mean, and nobody. Well, I guess we did kind of see that coming, but not to the extent that it grew. So AI, yeah, it's here to stay.
Yes. And so as Alamo water softeners, when you're dealing with Alamo water softeners,
News Talk 550 KTSA and FM 1071.
Didn't even want to try that one, did you?
Not even. That's like, what, 4.5 seconds?
It's been such a long time. I love Brad Delp, man. What a great voice. Almost a perfect rock and roll voice.
Oh, is that Brad Delp, right?
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah, he's great
Brad Delp,
voice.
yeah. Round 7:35. Ware and Rima, KTSA. What we were just talking about the last half hour, the Fox poll. Dems lead the economy, +9. Now think about that. Democrats leading on the economy.
Oh God!
Of all groups of people to lead on the economy, it's the Democrats and +9. So Jack's right. I think Jack is right.
Well, you look at any Democrat that was on TV this past weekend, from Al Sayed to AOC. No matter what they were asked, both of them, they took it back to the economy. They
and
took
Trump.
it back to Trump did. But
yeah.
I'm saying they're out there.
And Trump.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're out there, and they're bringing it back to affordability.
Because their whole thing is, well, Donald Trump wrecked this thing. It's terrible now because of Donald Trump. It's not. It's terrible. It was terrible back in the Biden years. And here, I was telling Nancy this over the weekend. So here's how it's worked. So that burrito that's $20, okay?
Yeah.
If they would have reelected, if the country would have reelected Kamala Harris and put her in charge, the $20 burrito would be $45 now.
Yeah.
Right? So what Trump did was he slowed the rate of inflation.
You stop the bleeding, basically.
Well, yeah. Well, you're never going to stop it totally because it's inflation. Prices are going to go up over time, and you really don't want deflation. But he slowed it from 9% down to about 3% in that area, 3.5, 3.2, whatever. And so instead of that burrito being $40, it's only $20 now. It went from 18 to 20 instead of 18 to 40, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can't get that through people's minds. That won't play. They don't understand that. They just know when they go to Chipotle, they're paying too damn much. And I want somebody to fix this. And Trump, that's why they're tying Trump to it. Trump ain't fixing it, so let me get these other boys in there and they'll fix it.
Well, but and you're right. I agree with everything, but it's a ridiculous idea that somebody who is a socialist is going to bring prices down for you. It's the same crap that they believe about Mamdani with these freaking grocery stores and convenience stores in New York.
Well, El Sayed.
Yesterday, same damn thing.
He's talking about free Medicare. Everybody gets Medicare, and it's free. It's free,
man.
It's free. Well, here he is.
Some Americans worry, though, you can only make Medicare free and universal if you increase taxes. So if you are elected and make this push, would you need to increase taxes?
Now listen to this. This is very important because now that his primary election is over, now his liberation day, and he can tell you the truth. Listen.
As I've said across this campaign, I am for taxing billionaires their wealth.
What about people who make less than $1 billion and less than $1 million, though, Dr. Al-Sayed? What about people making less than $1 million?
So for the average person, and you look at your W-2, if you're an employee who gets paid every 2 weeks or 4 weeks, after you pay your taxes, the next biggest check that comes off the top of your pay stub is to your health insurance company. So imagine instead of paying that to your health insurance company, whose CEO makes $20 million a year, instead you paid a little bit more in taxes for health care that you wouldn't lose.
You pay a little bit more in taxes.
Slid that in there,
That's middle income that is going to be paying more in taxes. That's how they all look. They ain't no free ride. It doesn't exist.
Healthcare is not free. Somebody has to pay for it, and it's going to be you and me if guys like that make it. You know,
Exactly.
I mean, that was a really interesting moment because he always pivots right back to evil, rich billionaire CEOs of insurance companies and blah blah blah. It's the usual nonsense we've been hearing since Elizabeth Warren. But if you're stupid and you're not paying attention, yeah, you're going to slide right by that idea that, well, you may see a little bit of an increase.
So if you're wondering how they go up 9 points, that's how it happens.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yes. Yeah. But, again, stupid people aren't going to think that deeply about it. They're going to see this slickster, this slippery guy, and he's a slippery dude, man. He does have some charisma. He does continue to remind me a lot of Obama. But, again, if you're just kind of all googly-eyed looking at the guy, you're going to gloss right over the fact that he just said, yeah, it's going to cost you more in your taxes.
Do you ever lick a snack pack lid?
When I was a kid,
Yeah. So this is the first day back to school for a lot of people. We were talking about that earlier off the air, about kids going back today and all the memories that we have of what we did. And those 10 lids that we would take off a snack pack, and one was chocolate, one was
Del
vanilla.
Monte pudding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to get one every day from my mom.
Yeah. And you would just lick the lid, and today they would cut their tongues and probably sue the entire world for that. But we made it okay. We went into classrooms that were made with asbestos everywhere. Not a problem. We're all right. We're doing okay.
Well, I mean, life in general, as we experienced it, was probably a lot more dangerous than what they're willing to let their kids endure today. I mean, you're not going to give a kid a metal can today with a razor sharp lid that you pull off,
right?
And we drank from a hose, and now they have their own little water cups.
You got little water bottles and water, personalized water bottles.
Did y'all have a water trough at your school?
A water trough?
Like for water fountains? Or?
Yes. We had these
trough?
Huh?
It was a trough?
We had these long, we had these long concrete troughs at East Terrell Hills Elementary. Had a pipe that ran down the middle, and the pipe had holes in it. And somebody would, at the end, would turn the knob, right? And the water would come shooting up, and you just go stick your mouth down there and take a drink. And there's like 20 holes lined up down the trough. And you sitting there with water shooting out, and you're taking a drink.
Right. I remember that. But I mean, life. I mean, I was thinking about this the other day in regards to just how different the educational experience is today. In that there's really not a lot. The discipline idea is kind of gone by the wayside. Mommy and daddy don't like teachers yelling at their kids, and lawyers are called. If a teacher has to maintain discipline inside a classroom. And I was thinking about that when I was in, I think, 7th grade. I had a science teacher. I can't remember his name, but he would have been a young guy, relatively young guy. And I remember I was always sitting in the back row. And I remember one class, the guys and I were like talking and, chuckling it up, whatever. And that science teacher all of a sudden stopped the class. And he said, "Sean Rima, shut your fat mouth." And I did. But I thought, and I went, and I thought, if you did that today, and if a teacher in a classroom today
Why
said
did you say he had a fat mouth?
Well, yeah, I'm not fat. Are you body phobic? You know what I mean? Like the teacher would have got, it was the right thing to say at that moment because I was running my fat mouth. But you know what I mean? If you did that today, that teacher more than likely would get suspended or fired, or mom and dad would show up with lawyers. You would never have that happen now.
Totally different back then because our principal and our coaches both had a board of education behind them, which was about 3 foot long and had holes in it.
That's the paddle board?
That was the board of education.
Remember.
And they had, and my dad would tell me, they've got the full right to use it on you.
Were you ever paddled?
I got one time when I was a senior in high school, and it was a total joke. It was a farce. The coaches made fun of me over something, and they said, "Okay, that's 3. Well, you get 3. You can either clean up the cafe for 3 days, or you can get 3 licks." I said, "If any of y'all brave enough to hit me, I'll come get my licks when school is over." And they hit me square in the back.
In the back with the paddle?
Yeah,
in the back.
In the back, man. I told him, huh?
Were you ever paddled?
Were you ever paddle?
No.
Yeah.
My dad did once.
Yeah.
Once. That's all I needed.
Yeah. Right.
I was actually pretty nerdy and well behaved in school. That was like one of my off days, actually.
I was too. I'll tell you how that happened. This guy called his girlfriend a bitch, and I threw the napkin at him. I said, "Don't call her that." And the coach said, Yep, you threw a napkin. That's 3 days cleaning up here. And I said, No, man, I ain't cleaning this place up. Well, come get licks. I said, okay, fine. I was friends with the coaches, and it was just a joke, messing around thing.
Right.
Did y'all like the first day of school?
I did, just because a lot of friends I had I only saw at school, so like I thought it was kind of interesting to see everybody when you get back. I didn't give a crap about. I was a lousy student, so I was never stressed out about that. But seeing my friends that I didn't see all summer was pretty cool. What? What are you laughing at?
That was so me. I didn't care anything about the academic. I could care. I wanted to see people.
I was total opposite. I cared about the academics, but I hated seeing all the popular kids with their brand new school clothes and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm over there wearing my sister's hand-me-down.
Well, I can dance to that tune too. Remember, I told you, my shopping for going back to school was going to my brother's closet.
Right.
But you're the same way Nancy was. She wanted to go back for the books, man. She wanted it. She had an affair with books.
I did.
I wanted to see the people.
I like the social aspect of it, especially as I got older, a little more comfortable socially. But, as far as the schoolwork, I hated it because we were reading Great Gatsby at school, and I'd go home and bust open like Somerset Maugham and crap like that. And Herman Hesse, and I
was a sniffer in high school. I
sniffer.
loved the smell of books. And
that sounded funny.
Remember your pencil box? Where
of course.
You put your pencils and your crayons? And remember the copy paper?
Of course.
Yes.
We had Buttercrust Bakery supplied all the book covers.
Right.
They paid for all the book covers. And Frito-Lay gave us our erasers for our number 2 pencils, which was an extended eraser, which was the Frito Bandito. And, he had 2 bandoleros on, he had the sombrero, and he had the guns. You wouldn't give that to a kid. Now, you talk about something you wouldn't give
a kid a little bandito with plastic guns.
Well, they had to cancel the commercials because they were so racist,
Right. Of course.
Ooh, it's terrible.
I liked getting all the new school supplies, even though they were completely meaningless to me within, a month or so. But I always had a new binder, and I thought that was cool, and, but I never used them. That's amazing I graduated, man. I was a horrible student.
Well, welcome back to school, everybody. Oh, yeah. And
Mom and Dad are happy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially
Day
Mom.
drinking. Yeah, there you go.
and fluorescent lights in the morning at school. Yeah.
Oh, God.
The fluorescent lights in the school.
Lights. We got them in here.
Welcome back, lunch ladies.
Lunch lady, Miss B. She was wonderful. Yeah.
You remember? I don't remember any of the lunch ladies.
Miss B, man. Miss B. She was a wonderful lady. Yep. Okay, quick break. More Ware and Rima coming up. KTSA, sunny and hot, upper 90s.
watch much. Also became a member of the House of Representatives for many years. I met him when he was running, I think, for that last term. We were doing a morning show in Colorado, and he came by and paid everybody a visit. We got to have him on the air. He's a very nice man.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I really remember about that is he's a very nice guy.
Yeah.
But I wasn't a fan of the Dukes of Hazzard, but it was a huge show.
Mm-hmm.
The 80s, you know what? TV was just more fun in the 80s. No matter what you were watching, I haven't seen a network television show literally in decades.
Mm-hmm.
And even some of the streaming stuff. I mean, I think Taylor Sheridan does a lot of really good stuff. And my wife was watching the third season of Lioness that was dropped this past weekend. But by and large,
yeah,
TV sucks, man. Back then it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a favorite show from the 80s?
Oh, no, I had a bunch.
Yeah.
Because Nancy and I consumed a lot of television back then. I don't watch anything now, but everything from Starsky and Hutch. We had one night where we would watch everything. Hardcastle and McCormick. And
that Hardcastle and McCormick, I do remember that.
Yeah.
I liked Thursday nights was a great night because I've always been a detective guy. I like detective shows.
Yeah, same here.
You had a double shot on Thursday nights of Magnum P.I., which was I thought one of the best TV shows ever.
Great.
And it was followed up by Simon and Simon, another private eye show.
That's right.
About two brothers who were very different. One was kind of a yuppie and one was kind of a wild guy, and it was a great show.
We turned on the Virginian yesterday for a little while.
The Virginian!
I never watched the Virginian, but we turned it on yesterday, and we were just commenting about how every week those companies and those actors and actresses, they had to shoot a mini movie every week.
Did.
It was written. It was scored musically. Yep. They had to ride their own horses.
They had to ride their own horses,
and
man.
shoot their own guns. Totally different world. More Ware and Rima coming up. KTSA.
When you want the best, when you want
I just saw Iris at the back door. She was coming in. And I said, "Happy Monday." And, Iris, she's so sweet,
she's great.
so genteel. She's awesome, And she goes, "Well, we'll see how it goes." That's perfect.
Honesty.
The most talented person in this building is Iris.
Iris is great.
She is wonderful. All right, so Brandon Gill, this is picking up on what I was talking about last hour and what I brought up with Carl as well, and that is, the A word that the Democrats are going to – this is all they're going to talk about. They're not going to talk about anything other than your Whataburger's too expensive.
Yeah.
If you're buying a Whataburger, you're paying $15, $16, $18 for that, and it's way too much. And Brendan Gill just posted, and I shared it on my X account at Trey Ware Show, the inflation rate in August 2022 after 2 years of Biden was 8.3%. The current inflation rate in August of 2026 after 2 years of Trump is 3.5%. Democrats now taking up the mantle of affordability want you to forget this. That's right, all day long. And that's what I was saying about the Chipotle, the burrito that costs $20 now went from 18 to 20 under Trump, right? But if you would have elected Kamala Harris, it would have gone to 18 to 40 because he slowed the inflation rate. So,
right. I mean, it's actually not $18, $20 at Chipotle. I kept hearing Chipotle, and I looked it up, and it's like $12 for a burrito.
Well,
but
the point is,
right? Things do cost more.
Prices are too high.
Yeah.
Trump has slowed the rate of growth, on the inflation numbers. But that doesn't matter. What matters is what people are spending. They have too much month at the end of their money right now. And they're looking at that going, well, maybe those other guys will be able to do something about it. That's why Democrats are leading +9 on the economy. And they are a disaster for the economy and always have been.
That's what's so bizarre about it. But again, they're on point.
Right.
They're all of them are steering it right back to the economy, no matter what you ask them,
and tying it to Trump.
It's Trump.
Look what Trump did. Put me in there, and I'll stop him. Look what Trump did. Put me in. Your beans are too high. Your gasoline's way too high. On and on and on and on it goes. So you can't even explain to most people outside of this truth bubble in which we live. The rate of growth of prices has slowed dramatically, but they don't care. What matters is they're still going and buying their Big Red, and it's twice what it was a few years ago.
Well, memory is short right now, and people people are in the moment, especially in this culture. And so, if they feel they're paying too much right now, it doesn't matter what Biden was doing. It doesn't matter for those people. It doesn't matter what the inflation was.
Nope.
All that matters is what's going on right now, and that's why they're turning to freaking socialists to handle the economy.
But that's why that's why the Democrats are smart right now, because they're saying we know your prices are too high.
Yep.
Donald Trump did it. So you've got to elect somebody other than Donald Trump, and I'm that person. So
Syed was saying it all weekend.
And it doesn't really matter that the guy's a socialist. He's a communist. He thinks that America should have been blown up on 9/11. All those things, none of that matters. What matters is my donut yesterday at Shipley's was 6 times what it was just a couple of years ago. That ain't right, and Donald Trump did it.
Well,
that's it.
You threw the quote out there earlier. It's the economy, stupid. I mean, that is the one thing that affects people directly every hour of the day.
Yeah.
So, and if they feel they're getting raked over the coals, will they vote for a socialist if they're not paying attention? Absolutely they will.
And they're not even voting for a socialist. They're voting for the other guy.
The other guy. If the other guy's a socialist, like anybody who's rubbing a couple of brain cells together, that's not the guy you want, but
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
He's the other guy.
It doesn't matter.
He's the alternative to what I've got now. And so I got to get the alternative in there because maybe he'll be able to. And like interest rates, now, if you've got a flex, if you've got an arm, and you're sitting there looking at that, you're really going to vote for the other guy. Because not only do you have an affordability issue with the cost of your home, but if you got an arm on there, the next thing you know, now you're watching your monthly nut go up and up and up on your house. And you're going, man, how high is this going to go? How high can it possibly go before I'm living in the street again, getting kicked out? So.
Well, yeah, and just the reality of people going to get a tank of gas or go to buy the groceries every other week, and they're paying too much. And again, the reality kind of drops away. You're right; it's that pendulum effect Okay, well, he's been around he's been at the helm of the economy for this past year, but I mean they're glomming it all together with the whole time in office. Let's go with a guy who can't shut up about the economy and what he's going to do about it. It doesn't matter that their taxes are going to go up. It doesn't matter that the people they're looking at now will completely destroy the economy
and the country
and the middle class. The middle class goes, America goes.
Well, and I can appreciate what Carl was saying about, hey, we need to educate people about, hey, this is the best time we've ever had to start a business. He's correct. That is absolutely true. Look at the stock market. The Dow is about to slip over 55,000. Great, wonderful. That is absolutely true. Man, the taxes are the lowest that we've ever seen. Taxes are so low now. It's unbelievable the breaks that people are getting on their taxation. Wonderful. None of it matters. None of that matters. What matters is my prices for my chow, for my house, and I hope you got a fixed rate, but if you don't, the interest rates have got to go up here pretty soon once again. Now, they've been able to hold on steady, but those have got to go up. That's all. I can't live with what I got now, so I need to make a different decision. I got to go with a different horse.
Well,
that's how they look at it.
If you go with that different horse, the problem is by the time you realize that different horse was a recipe for disaster in regards to the economy, it'll be too damn
late.
Right.
But that's exactly right. But because of what you said a couple of minutes ago, people just don't care because they don't have a memory for any of that. They want relief, and they want it right stinking now. Give me relief right now.
Right.
And it doesn't matter, like right now, going back to school, all the school supplies were so expensive. Incredibly so expensive. I stopped and I looked at all that stuff.
I don't know. I went by H-E-B and Walmart, and they got all kinds of cheap crap there. But.
No, well, maybe they do at yours, but at ours, it was super expensive.
No, they do at mine. I saw it yesterday. It's like 99, 38-cent notebooks and crap like that.
Yeah, that's great. So everything is so much more expensive now, and particularly when you're talking groceries, talking gas, which people are blaming on the war,
Well, of course. But maybe that plays into why we're suddenly hearing a different tone as well out of Iran. Maybe 100%. That's playing into it like, well, they're already screaming about the economy.
100%.
And we're mired in this. They don't want to see us blowing crap up and wasting money if the economy sucks here.
Well, let me get into that because that's where I was going to start this hour. So Trump was saying over the weekend he's taking a more low-key approach to the Iran war, that the economic pressure is what he's going to go with now instead of the military pressure. More of a hands-off approach. We are semi-negotiating with them. No new attacks. Don't expect any new attacks. What screamed to me, and I'm going to get to J.D. Vance here in a second, what screamed to me out of all that was several months ago when all of a sudden it just stopped, and I said, did we run out of bullets and bombs? What happened? And it looks like that, like we did. In fact, if you go read some of the people who look at this stuff over and over again, that it's pretty clear. There's several op-ed pieces that are based on some really good information that we did. We emptied off the shelves, number one, to Ukraine all those years during the Biden years. And in this case, all we had going into Iran were these high-tech missiles that were way, way beyond what was needed. We needed some silly little drones for a lot of this, but we didn't have them. So we had to use our high-tech missiles, even though the job could have been done by a firecracker instead of this thing that we launched. So now we're in the process of trying to replace those high-tech drones, and they take years to build out. And we were talking earlier about this, and I think Elaine said something about, does it leave us vulnerable here? And our concern. I'm not really concerned about an attack here. I'm more concerned to say Taiwan. China looks at that. They're very opportunistic. Right. We're not there to have Taiwan's back if we don't have these missils to do it with, especially against China.
Oh, I agree.
Of all countries.
To me, if this is what's actually going on, I find it interesting that this wouldn't have been anticipated. I keep coming back to that argument. Like, you guys didn't see this coming, I mean, what did you think? Did you think that the economic stuff and the bluster was going to win the day with these people?
Yes.
I guess they did, but
yes.
Why would you think that? You and I knew going into it that wouldn't work.
Yes.
Because we needed to act We needed to act
Right.
this past 2 years. Otherwise,
Right.
they've got all the nuke
Well,
stuff right
that's
now
true.
today.
And as Christian pointed out in the first hour, we didn't lose anything. We haven't lost.
Right.
This has
right.
all been a win-win-win for if Trump today were to come out and declare victory and we're coming home, he's correct.
Right.
The leadership, the top 3 tiers of the leadership are completely gone. They're dead. They're never coming back. We blew the hell out of that mountain last summer, right?
Yeah.
They still have the ability to constitute some in pickaxe, but we can stay on top of that, and it looks like the Mossad is probably going to get serious about taking that out. We, excuse me, get a resolution over in Hormuz, and we're able to get more ships through Hormuz. You're going to see the price of gasoline be cut in half, literally overnight. So all that stuff is like I've been putting in the football analogy. President Trump got us to the 20-yard line, which is 80 yards further than any other president ever has. So if that's as far as we get and we're done, it's still a win-win for us.
Yeah, but the way it's going to be characterized is he was mired in this.
Exactly.
You know, he didn't have a plan when he
right.
went. You
It's
want a
still
guy
gonna
like
look-
that doesn't have a plan going in there. You know,
Right.
we could do this better than he did.
But you guys
we're
know
not going to get us into any unnecessary wars.
Oh yeah,
It's still
But
going
you-
to look like a loss.
But
Yeah.
I understand, and I
Taco
agree with
Trump
you.
again.
I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is, they're going to do that anyway. You could go turn Iran into glass today with nukes, and they're still going to go on ABC on this radio station and say, "You see what a bumbling idiot Donald Trump is? Look what he did." There's nothing you could do to change them from that.
I agree. Yeah.
So I just think, we're seeing something. I'm thinking that this week we're going to have an announcement.
Well,
from him.
the tone was noticeably different this past weekend.
Not only from Trump, but JD and our UN ambassador as well.
We're talking to the Iranians, of course. We're trying to maximize the amount of oil and gas that are coming out of the Strait of Hormuz. That's the thing that we're most focused on right now. And you see, I think, oil prices dipping around $80 a barrel today, sometimes a little bit lower. So we're just trying to make sure that we get what we need out of this particular conflict.
Boom. And Fox has up right now.
Right.
Trump signals shift to economic pressure on Iran.
Yep, right up there.
Tells you everything you need to know.
Yep.
More Ware and Rima coming up. KTSA. Sunny and hot. KTSA.
Well, the president, this was an interesting thing that came up. El Sayed was on a couple of different shows. He's on Meet the Press. He was on with Jake Tapper. And I can't remember. It's such a blur to me now. I can't remember exactly which show he was on where he responded to this. But the Trumpster puts out a social media post. Two very different Americans. Two very different Americas. And it shows a picture of he and Melania dressed for some formal gathering. And he's in a tux and she's in a very cool-looking gown. And Abdul Muhammad Al Sayed. And he used his full first name, which Sayed made a big deal of, after the primary win. And it's he and his wife, and she's wearing a hijab. He kind of went off on that. And look, and we're just eating pancakes. But then he took it into the area that a lot of people do want to criticize the Trumps there's obviously something wrong with their marriage, right? Like El Sayed basically characterized Melania and Donald Trump as kind of like we used to say about the Clintons, which I think we actually believed was true, that they really weren't a couple. They kind of came together for political reasons. Yeah. And he was trying to make the accusation of Donald Trump and Melania, which anybody, and we've heard this before, right? Oh, there's trouble in the marriage. Oh, she always looks so sour and unhappy.
Well, they're doing it for the money.
They're doing it for the money.
He said that.
Well, that's what I mean. Mutually beneficial for them.
Mm-hmm. Doing it for the money.
And it's like anything you know about the Trumps, you know that that's absolutely not true. I mean, she was a fully formed and very successful human being before she met him.
Right.
I think their story has been one of the great love stories out of the White House in recent memory.
Yeah.
I mean, they really are kind of a charming couple in their own way. And
he's kind of awkward. The president's kind of awkward at PDAs and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
You see him try to kiss somebody on the cheek, it's kind of a weird thing.
He
holding
does
her hands
defer to her, though.
Sure
They hold hands, and he opens the door for her, and he's always kind of deferring to her, which I think is always a good sign of a healthy relationship.
I would just criticize President Trump a little bit on this, though. Don't invite that. By just doing that, there was no need for it.
Right.
Act like he's a pimple on your butt, and he means nothing, and he's not a big deal, the Sayed guy.
Right.
Why would you elevate him by giving him this meme? You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. Is Trump worried about him?
I don't know. I have no idea, but you're the president. So
well, I mean, it's
this guy.
But why would he do that? Because, Sayed got a call from Obama.
Because he's
right.
Yeah, because he's Trump, and this is what Trump does.
I know, but I mean, if he really wasn't concerned about him, would he do this?
I don't know. I have no idea, but he's the president. He doesn't have to elevate this guy to any level by
agree
by
in
giving
that
him
regard.
National stature by putting up a meme about him.
Oh, I give you that.
Trump was inviting the criticism back from Sayed. I think Sayed won that one because he said, "Look, we're just sitting here having pancakes together. Look at you."
Right, but I hadn't really thought about this. It is interesting that he did it, though, and I think the whole Sayed thing. I'm not discounting that guy. I'm just not.
Well, you can't.
Something about him, I think, that is a little different than the others. Like, it'll be Francesca Hong night tomorrow night, but she's a complete blathering idiot. I mean, she's a horrible candidate. This guy that Sayed went up against was a horrible candidate.
Right.
I don't know. This guy gets a call from Obama. We talked about how Obama ran the country actually for 4 years. So Obama is a still pretty powerful force behind the scenes.
Muslim dudes got to hang together.
I don't know. Something about this Sayed guy is troubling and worrisome to me.
I'm not discounting him. I'm just saying the president, he woofed that one because he didn't have to invite that.
But he knows that. And he invites it when he does that. And I think he enjoys the reactions he gets to a certain extent.
That's true.
But I still think it was kind of an interesting move on his part to do it at all because you're right. If you're not worried about somebody or concerned about somebody, you don't mention them. They don't come up. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
Trump likes these skirmishes anyway. He loves this kind of thing. This is in his world.
But it was interesting watching Sayed. That's probably the most I've watched him over this past weekend on the two media appearances, combined with the speeches and the appearances he had last week. And, he's a little more artful than the other socialist candidates when asked questions about the agenda.
Absolutely.
Because what he did in both interviews, both times, is every single time something dicey came up, whether it was Hassan Piker or Piker, whether it was the usual stuff about the socialist agenda, he would take it right back to the economy
and Trump.
And he did that consistently.
That's right.
And he sounds like Obama to me.
Well, yes, he's very intelligent.
Very.
And the others are not. So they have a script, and they have to follow that script closely. The script does come from Hussein Obama. There's no doubt, who's large and in charge of what's going on with the Democrats. This is not a loose network of people just running off on their own.
Right.
Even this whole thing where these Muslims are getting elected, with Al-Assad and the rest of them, and this whole socialist thing, guys, this is Barack Obama. When you look at Al-Assad and you look at Hong and you look at all these others, he is a Muslim socialist. He always has been.
And Mamdani and Al-Sayed, I think, yeah, absolutely. Because in a sense, they're both Obama ripoffs. They're both Obama stooges.
Handpicked by him.
They both talk like him.
That's right.
And certainly Obama wants an Islamo-fascist state in America. I believe that forever.
Has forever. That's exactly what he wanted, and he's going to try to bring it through these guys. And you know what they're going to be? They're going to be puppets like Joe Biden was. They're going to do whatever the man tells them to do. They will get their marching orders from Barack Hussein.
Mamdani, I can see. I don't know about Syed. I don't know. We'll see.
Hey, here in Texas. Or now at KTSA, Todd Blanche was confirmed on Saturday. Of course, Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins both opposed him, as did all the Democrats. Brandon Stubbe, 17 years old. He was working at the Dick's Sporting Goods last Saturday a week ago, when the guy with the gun showed up at the In-N-Out and started to blast people in the parking lot and everything else. Braxton, only 17, was able to get a bunch of their customers and employees out and shoved them out the back door where they could run to safety. As Braxton then left, again, only 17, I want to keep emphasizing that because he showed great maturity for being only 17, turned the corner and he came face-to-face with the gunman, and the gunman had a gun up and was ready to blast Braxton, and Braxton looked at him and said, I have a family, man. I have a family. You don't have to do this. The guy was crying, he said. The gunman began crying, and he said, just get away from me. Go, get away. And Braxton got away. So that's pretty amazing. I have a family. You don't have to do this. And the guy sent him on his way. And then he went around the corner and shot himself. The gunman did. Yeah. A flight from Victoria to Toronto, not Victoria, Texas, Victoria, Canada, to Toronto.
That'd be a long flight.
Had to be canceled the other night because some mom and dad couldn't get their little 3-year-old to sit down so they could buckle him in a seat. Standing on the seat, yelling and hollering. And explain this one to me, because I don't get it. You can't control a 3-year-old? Explain that one. That child is 3 years old. That child going to sit down and buckle up, or,
See it every day, man. Every day.
A 3-year-old.
3-year-old, just young kids. I was at a Walmart. We were at the Walmart about a week ago, and it looked like there was a mom and a grandmother, and they had a couple of little kids. The kids were just grabbing stuff off the shelves and tossing it on the floor.
Oh, my God.
Sounds like they need some Benadryl juice.
Benadryl juice.
That's exactly right.
How about here's a little cup of Z-Quil for you, kid.
What was the purple stuff that we used to use for kids at the time when they had the runny nose and it tastes like grape soda?
NyQuil.
Well, no, it's not NyQuil. It's something
Chloroform?
No.
Chloroform.
Give them a Xanax.
Wow.
Anyway, Linda Gray, they've got a big auction coming up this week. In fact, Wednesday. It's called Women of the 80s, Ladies of the 80s. And they're going to be auctioning off all kinds of props, costumes.
From Dallas?
Well, from just Ladies of the 80s.
Oh, Ladies of the 80s.
But
in general.
Dallas is in there as well. So she's been reminiscing. She's 110, I think, or 112. Just kidding. She's 85. But she's been talking about kissing scenes with Larry Hagman.
I saw that, yes.
And Larry hated kissing scenes. He just detested them. Now, was I Dream of Jeannie too much in the 60s for any? I don't remember him kissing Jeannie in the 60s.
He never kissed Jeannie,
okay.
No.
That was too much in the.
Well, they never hooked up in the show.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I love that show, though.
That was a great show.
Yeah, I love that show.
I loved it, too.
You perv.
One of my own Jeannie. Oh, come on. We were all thinking it. Every red-blooded young boy was looking at Barbara Eden going, I got to get me some of that.
No, that was Julie Newmar on Batman.
I was a Batgirl person. I like the librarian more.
Oh, did you?
I like Batgirl. I thought she was great.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway. Linda Gray's spinning a yarn, talking about it, and she said that Larry hated him, so the very first time they were going to kiss on camera, he had a full mouth of peanut butter.
Yeesh. Yeah.
Well, and she said, this ain't right.
The other time he put garlic, and she said that making it a practical joke helped him get through the scene.
Right. The next time it was onions. It was It was whatever he could find. It was obnoxious as it could be, and he was laughing all his way.
Like I said, he did it to get through the scenes because he hated doing kissing scenes.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Now, this one I love. Well, the next two stories I absolutely love because they're tied to history and biblical history, which I'm a freak about. I read all of Edersheim's work. A fisherman and diver, Giacomo de Mola.
Giacomo
de Mola found a ship wrecked off the coast of Sicily. The ship is 2,000 years old. Obviously, biblical times.
Yes.
And obviously some sort of commercial freight vessel because it was loaded with pots.
I did see something about that. Yeah.
And they were stacked on top of each other, and some of them stacked on the bottom of the ocean and all that kind of stuff.
Loaded with what?
Pots, like
to put stuff in. Pot, not pot.
No, not Roman pot.
Clay pots.
Clay pot.
Yeah. I bet Roman weed was pretty good.
Talavera.
Porcelain pots.
There you go.
Pots.
So so they're trying to figure out how to bring those up without them, crumbling into bits and pieces, so they can find out if there's anything in them.
Right.
They have all kinds of video of them, and they look really pretty amazing. The work on them was really intricate. The designs and everything.
Right.
So what's in those pots, if anything, or was it just a ship that was delivering those? But it was a Roman ship from the Roman era, from the Jesus time, that they found at the bottom off of.
They'll bring them up, and they'll be filled with fish oil and cigarette butts.
Well, that too. That too. They did find one a couple of years ago that had a lot of fish oil inside of them.
That was their favorite condiment, man.
Absolutely, yeah.
Rotting fish.
Absolutely. And the other story has to do with Mount Everest. They have found now, for sure, the fossilized remains of ancient marine creatures on top of Everest, which is the highest peak on planet Earth.
Right.
How did you get little marine creatures up there?
Maybe that little flood thingy?
Hey, that's an idea. Maybe Noah could tell you how.
You find a dolphin on top of Mount Everest, you might assume that the flood actually took place.
That's exactly right.
Well, every tradition on the planet at that point had a flood tradition, had a flood story, if you go back and look at it. So that's kind of interesting.
You can look at a couple of things around us. One is the Grand Canyon, which I happen to believe on the side that says that was a result of the flood and not millions of years of a drop. The
Grand Canyon?
Is that what I said, Greg?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Grand Canyon, you look at that, and that was just a tremendous flood that went shooting through there to create that. And the other one that geologists are sure about, and this was an interesting story last week.
What's that?
When the meteor hit where we now call the Gulf of America, that was all land. That wasn't the Gulf of America. That was land down there. The meteor that hit, that wiped out the dinosaurs, hit there. But for years, they thought that it was an ice event. After that, like a nuclear winter set in. But now they've changed their thinking, that there was a cap that was formed over the planet, and it was heat that killed the dinosaurs and everything else that was living here. That, spontaneous combustion, fires were just igniting, and the gases had nowhere to go because they were held in by the dust overhead.
Dinosaurs had to breathe.
Right.
I like the Far Side idea, again, to bring up cigarettes, where they're like, dinosaurs are like smoking cigarettes and looking around the corner, making sure nobody's looking at them. You ever see that one? The cartoon?
Sure.
What really killed the dinosaurs?
Smoking cigarettes.
Well,
that'll do it.
I mean, it's human history and geological history are fascinating, and one of the reasons they're fascinating to me is you realize that you and I are just a blink of an eye, man. I mean, we've barely been here. When you look at how old the planet is, which I think is 7 billion years old, how far back the dinosaurs and that all those forms of life were here for a long time before they went bye-bye. And here we are. We've only been around for, I don't know how many, 10,000 years or something like that.
Yes. And I happen to believe that with every one of these discoveries, all this stuff that we're finding now is proving the Bible to be true.
Well, I think a lot of scientific understanding backs up Scripture. Especially, and you've heard me talk about this before, when you start getting into quantum physics, it really does back up a lot of stuff like the good works and everything Jesus said and did. And, a lot of it could be argued scientifically.
Sure.
I don't tend to look at the Bible that way because I always look at it for the more than historic truth. Like, what am I being told here? What am I learning here to apply to my life in the here and now?
I'm just talking about the proof of the text and the history, though.
Right.
And the more we make these discoveries, whether it's Mount Everest or whether it is this ship that they found from Roman times, it just validates. And my friend Dinesh D'Souza has a new book coming out in October about this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it just validates what the Bible says about certain places and events that happen. We're starting to now find out, you know what? It wasn't made up. Those were real events in real places.
Right,
I just want to
Really
know
happened.
who's buying all that pot. Was there like a
Roman
biblical
pot.
Snoop Dogg?
The Roman
Biblical
pot.
Snoop Dogg ordering it up?
Snoop Doggius. Snoop Doggius would like to partake of your reeferus from the potus.
Did they have pot back then?
I don't know.
Jimmy says yes. Jimmy was there.
I'm sure there were some smoke shops.
Jimmy grew it from. Was it hydroponic?
I mean, it's God created all plants and herbs, man.
See?
So they had it.
Yeah, so it wasn't like we discovered marijuana, weeds, and seeds.
Okay, the Romans people had just figured out wine, like a couple of centuries before. They were like just getting into wine, let alone,
So you're ruining it for me. I always believed that Cheech and Chong discovered pot. It wasn't them.
That's because you went to Roosevelt.
Nah.
Alamo water softeners for the betterment.
FM 107.1.
There we go. It's Ware and Rima. It's 850 KTSA.
Well, a lot of gender stuff we're dealing with today. I did mention this earlier. I just want to revisit it very quickly. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, first off, she was on TV with Jonathan Karl, who, she could have spit in his eye, and that guy would have just smiled. He's so in love with her. It was embarrassing. It was a pointless interview by and large. But she did take it back to the economy no matter what came up. She was asked about, do you agree with the socialist agenda? And she kind of rambled for a bit, didn't really answer that question. She was asked, what is the difference between communism and socialism? And she responded, democracy, which is one of the trippier answers I've heard in my life, because that doesn't make any freaking sense at all. But another thing she did over the weekend was she did a video where she's freezing her eggs, for future use, I'm assuming. She's 37 years of age, I guess, and critics were saying, you both the same guy for over a dozen years, why don't you have kids now? People were trying to characterize that as an assault on the family, which I don't buy that.
I'm fine with her not having kids.
I'm fine. I think we're all fine with that. What was interesting to me, though, is that you're watching AOC talk about the sovereignty of a woman's body, and Trump wants to, tell you how to use your body, and it's all Roe v. Wade stuff.
Of course.
But it's like, wait a minute, I thought you people couldn't define a woman. I thought she was pretty specific, Trey, about women and their eggs. But I thought that side of the room, that's a little more fluid or whatever. I wish Jonathan Karl had been the kind of guy that would have asked her that. Well, can you define a woman? Now, two separate things. I mean, the video was separate from the interview. But it is interesting to see somebody who normally can't shut up about non-binary this and trans rights that. But when it comes to herself, she's pretty specific about what a woman's biology is.
Yeah, I've never heard her comment on it, but I can tell you this. I was very disheartened when I saw her. She was going to freeze her eggs so that she would have children somewhere down the road. She may not even be here for them, It may be like decades after she's gone. I don't know. But, I was hoping she'd be one that would not procreate.
Yeah.
We don't need any more of her.
Right.
Sorry to be so mean.
And as I said in the opening minutes there, you listen to her for over 5 minutes, and I think I could actually feel my IQ get lower. I think the stuff with the retired NBA guys, this Ennis guy saying they want to join the WNBA based upon, this tranny inclusive crap that they can't shut up about. I think that's precious. I think that's hilarious.
And why? Why do you think? Why? Yeah.
Because for how long, you and I talk about how dudes who are mediocre playing against other dudes will go become trans all of a sudden. They're outrunning women. They're trying to force their way into women's sports all the time in that sense. But the WBNA, whatever the hell it is, the Women's Basketball League Association, can't shut up about it. And so these guys are like, well, yeah, I fit your requirements. Why can't I join? I think it's hilarious.
Well,
in other words, they're using their own politics to make a statement. And I think it's cool.
Royce White is a conservative. He was in the NBA. He is really a very good basketball player.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. And this is what he said.
This week I made the announcement. I'm transgender. I'm a woman. I identify as sometimes identifying as a woman, for purposes of basketball, professional basketball. So I'll be declaring for the WNBA draft in 2027 as well. I think I'd be unstoppable, but I'm a team first guy. I'm a pass first kind of player. I do the little things. I led my team in all 5 major stat categories at Iowa State University.
He did.
So I do a little bit of everything. I'll do whatever the coach needs me to do.
That's right. Whatever the coach needs. Now this, as I said in the first hour, this is actually helping the women, because the hypocrisy of the WNBA says, oh, yeah, we'll talk a big game about allowing trans to play, but then when guys actually say, and he's one of about 4 that
That's
have,
right.
and I'm number 5. I'm going to declare today. I'm open for the draft next year, so put me in, coach. I'm ready to go. But what they're going to do is they're going to say, okay, no, you're right. You got us. We're done. Guys,
right.
What they're doing is they're going to force a rule from the WNBA that says no biological males. That's going to help women. These guys are going to force it.
I think it's interesting, though, because you do see guys in other sports, but, it's really easy when you're a pro basketball coach, women's basketball coach, and you can support trannies and, girls volleyball and, in this event where they're running against women. But, yeah, they certainly don't want them on their team. You're right. I mean, it's pointing out their hypocrisy.
Well, these guys are bigger, faster, stronger, as men generally are, right? And so the league cannot have these guys participating. Let's just say one team, the Fever or whatever, hires all of these guys, and now you've got a team full of males playing against these females, and the females are wonderful athletes, but men in general, I didn't say better, they're bigger, faster, stronger in general.
I mean, the NFL's gotten political. I don't know if they have a stance on this sort of thing, but you're not seeing the NFL taking on any women on the football teams, right?
Right, because men are bigger, faster, stronger.
Right.
I mean, women would crumble against these NFL players. These NFL players are as big as this building.
Right.
So there's not a woman who could really play in the NFL without getting crushed. Maybe a kicker.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They don't have
the
leg
point
strength.
is like it's really easy to have really fancy opinions on stuff until it comes knocking on your door.
And that's why they're doing this, because what they're going to do is force a rule. That's what I'm saying. These guys right here are going to force a rule where the WNBA will have to say no biological males.
Right.
They're going to have to count
and
them
that's
out.
anti-trans, Trey. They're going to. In a sense, they're forcing them into an anti-trans. From their perspective, will be an anti-trans point of view.
Right, and as I tried to point out in the first hour, that's going to help the women because there will be no men allowed.
Right.
No men allowed in the league. And once they do that, the women are in much better shape. Then the women are protected. It'll be Title IX for the WNBA.
I've just never spent so much time talking about women's basketball as we have over the past year, I guess, since Caitlin Clark really emerged.
That was something else I said. It's becoming very, very roller derby-ish and wrestling, because they started out with the controversy, and then they realized controversy sells. And if controversy sells, then we're going to latch on to that, and we're going to create more controversy, which is what they're doing now. And now it's starting to look a little bit like roller derby. And at that point, it just becomes ridiculous.
Well, it also doesn't it kind of make women look catty in a sense in the way they're attacking each other?
Oh, I don't. You could make the same case for men. I don't know. You call men catty, but men do the same thing.
Like, and somebody told me this over the weekend. A woman told me this over the weekend that for once they were getting respect. Caitlin Clark was doing really well. People were watching it. And now it's all this back and forth, and it just kind of this person's idea was that it hurts women and makes us look like we can't get along.
More Ware and Rima coming up, KTSA. We're gonna change. We're gonna start on a low-key approach to the Iranian war. We got to shift. We're gonna shift. Instead of Pete Hegseth, because he doesn't have any more bullets and bombs, we're gonna go now with the economic pressure from Scott Bessent, who is going to be our new general in the war. What? Why are you saying that? You're going to make a gay joke, aren't you?
No, I was just I'm thinking, okay, what do you call him? The Secretary of Destruction?
Yes.
Couldn't handle it.
Yeah, that's right. So you're going to bring in the money guy.
He couldn't handle the
they
gig?
know how to fight.
So he's going to take more of a hands-off approach. This is all according to Mr. Trump. And we are now semi-negotiating with them. There'll be no new attacks. We're waiting for the economy to collapse them. But I got something new to add to all that. Obviously, there's a lot of truth to this whole idea that we used up a lot of bullets and bombs. I put it that way. Okay, but it's just the armaments. To make it understandable, we were using these high-priced missiles that were way over what was necessary.
Right.
We just needed a couple of drones in this case, but we didn't have those, so we had to use the high-priced missiles, which take billions of dollars and years to create. So this is where we are. We're in this position right now, so we kind of have to quit. we don't really have a choice. We kind of have to say, yeah, go ahead, take over there, Mr. Treasury Secretary. But he just announced a little while ago that the Strait of Hormuz is rapidly becoming ever more irrelevant. Been talking about these pipelines for quite some time.
Yes.
Right.
Now the energy flow has shifted from ships now to the pipelines.
Right.
To the tune of about 70% of the oil flowing out of there is coming through pipelines instead of the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait, here's the quote from Treasury Secretary, the Strait is never going back to the way it was. The Strait is going to become irrelevant. It is going to become just another body of water. So that adds validity to what I've been saying all morning. The president has taken a sharp turn. This weekend was a watershed moment in our war with Iran. It's a sharp turn away from violence, away from bombing, away from all of that to, okay, I'm just going to put my hands around your neck and I'm going to keep squeezing until you either cry uncle or you're dead. Those are the two choices as to what's happening here economically. Because we don't need the Strait to be open. You go ahead and threaten me to keep the Strait closed, which they did again this weekend. They were, beating their hand on it, kind of like Hitler, beating the hand on the table. And you're like, so what? Strait's
like
closed.
What was that?
Well, that's how Hitler would do it, right?
Yeah.
And so the Strait's closed. So what? The oil is going through pipelines all the way down past Yemen now and into the ocean where we need the ships to hook up, just like we have on our Texas coast here. The ships can just hook up and you're good to go, which is what they're doing now to the tune of about 70%. So the Strait is kind of like, oh, okay, close it. I don't give a rip.
Right.
Who cares if you close it?
Well,
it doesn't matter.
Obviously, there's a change in tone, and I did hear that over the weekend, part-time negotiating and all that stuff. And I hope that this is all part of a master plan and they just didn't kind of end up here. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what I've been saying all along is that Trump was the kind of a guy, and he's surrounded by people who would have anticipated pretty much everything that's happened to a certain extent. That's so what? They didn't know that at some point they're going to run out of armaments. They didn't know that these guys weren't going to abide by any agreement you put in front of them.
Yeah.
So I think the midterms are playing a role. I think the economy's playing a role on our side. They don't want the optics of going in there full force and killing all kinds of people, because the people that want to take this country away from us in November would be using that as campaign material every single day.
Well, the oil issue is a big one, right? And that drives the price of everything, because everything either is produced by oil or moves by oil. And so moves by oil. So you have to have the flow of oil open and free in order to keep your prices low. And so that is definitely part of it, the politics of it. absolutely is part of it. Sure, all of that plays into this.
In other words, you got to wrap this thing up one way or the other, or make it look like you're wrapping it up before November.
Yeah, at least make it look like it.
That's right.
At least make it look like
but
it. Yeah,
Christian
exactly.
said it well in the first hour. This is not a defeat.
No, I don't think it is.
They're gonna play like it on TV. But guys, I'll say it again. I've said it 10 times this morning. They're going to do that anyway. You could light the whole place on fire and burn it to the ground. And ABC and CNN are still going to call this the biggest defeat in American military history.
Mm-hmm.
Watch. It doesn't matter what you do. That's the way they're going to play it.
It is a hard turn, though, because only a week ago it was, I'm going to unleash. It's going to be you've never seen anything like this since World War II.
That's the whole point of what I've been saying all morning. It is a definite change. Here is the vice president.
Need out of this particular conflict. If you go back and remember what it is that we've done here, we've destroyed their nuclear program, we've destroyed their conventional military, we've radically reduced their, what you might call their asymmetric military abilities, and right now we're trying to see if they're willing to make the kind of long-term changes that would be necessary to have a better relationship with the United States, and if not, that's fine too.
So there you go. That answers your entire question.
It does.
This is what we did. Mission accomplished. Hang the banner. Mission accomplished.
Elaine's shaking her head, man.
We're getting out of here.
Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
What's not going to happen?
They're going to blame Trump for everything.
Oh, they do that anyway.
Yeah, but
how is that different?
They do that anyway.
That's standard.
They're going to blame him, and they're going to say that we lost it.
They're going to characterize it as a loss,
right.
and we didn't anticipate any of this.
You
and
were
Trump,
busy a minute ago. I said he could light the whole place on fire and burn it to the ground. They're still going to say that.
Trump could rescue the planet from an asteroid, and he would be accused of violating the rights of asteroids to travel freely.
Yes, excellent point.
So that's a given. That's all a given.
Or I said in the first hour, he could cure cancer, and they go, oh, poor cancer.
Yeah.
Well,
Gosh,
people liked having cancer. You made a choice for them that they weren't willing to make.
So Elaine, it's not picking on you, but they're going to play it.
I don't care if you're picking on me. I'm telling you the truth. It's the backpedaling, the whole soft shelling, the backpedaling that they did this weekend. Him and JD.
Sure,
she's got a great point. I mean,
right, and they're going to do that anyway.
No, I know they're going to do it anyway, but I mean, you can't deny that this is like a freaking left turn.
That's why I brought it up first thing this morning.
Where they were when it was, we're going to blow the crap out of them, and no one's ever going to see anything like this before.
I started with that at 6:05 this morning. I said exactly that, and I played all this sound saying this is a complete and different change. When a man starts talking low-key approach after he's been talking, we're going to bomb the snot out. What did he say? Bomb the effing S out of you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And now
it's it's going to be a part-time negotiations.
Low key
We're
approach.
We're going to do lunch a couple times a week with these guys. You know,
and he sends JD out and the UN ambassador out to say, mission accomplished. If you just listen to what JD said a minute ago, mission accomplished.
And remember what it is that we've done here. We've destroyed their nuclear program. We've destroyed their conventional military. We've radically reduced their, what you might call their asymmetric military abilities. And right now we're trying to see if they're willing to make the kind of long-term changes that would be necessary to have a better relationship.
So, Elaine, you are 1,000,000% correct. They're going to play it on ABC and CNN like a loss, but they would do that anyway.
A couple of weeks ago, you said it yourself. If he comes back and says, "Oh, we're gonna pull away and compromise and deal," you're going to be very upset because in 47 years, no president has been able to do this.
Well, but that's not exactly what I said. What I said was this president did more than any other president in 47 years. I kept talking about he got us to the 20-yard line and he didn't punch it in.
Right.
Yeah, but you've also been saying, I'm just being honest, man, you've been saying they should have gone in there at the front and greased them all and turned it into a mirror and this would have been over.
Yes, and I still feel that way. I haven't changed that at all. But what I am saying is this president took us further than any other president. That's undeniable, 1,000,000%. And I'm not saying we should back out now and quit and go home. What I am saying is, though, he should get credit because he's taken us further than anybody else ever has.
I'm sure he'll get credit for that. But remember when he did his warning number 13?
Yes.
That's when you said, I don't know what he's doing. We don't know what he's planning. But if he doesn't follow through and hit hard and hit them hard, it'll be a disappointment.
And absolutely. And it is a disappointment for a lot of people that want to see complete and utter change over there. But if we're out of bombs and bullets, what are you going to do?
Yeah, but
Are you going to start throwing
soft
sand in their face? You know, that's nothing new to them.
They don't need the bombs and the bullets. They've got ships. Iran's ports are closed. What everyone seems to kind of overlook here is Iran is in a chokehold that's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
it's not going anywhere.
No.
And so now the onus. You heard Trump in the early days of this war talking about the people of Iran now have an opportunity. They're not armed yet. Maybe they will be. Maybe they won't be. But the economy stinks. And the stage is set for the people to possibly, because I'm not convinced there's any leadership anyway.
No, I can tell you there's not. It's clear that there's
Trey,
not.
I think you've talked about you got key figures in the military.
That's it.
Who still have some power, but they have this. Iran has what's called a mosaic defense strategy in the event they're ever. So you end up with all these different territories that are defending the country, but there's no cohesion anymore.
No,
the U.S. knew that that's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to cannibalize itself, and Trump is fighting this war not in the shock and awe, avenue that we've seen the U.S. fight in over decades. They're fighting it like Russia. They wear you out.
I
over
think
a long time.
what happened was back several months ago when we stopped, we ran out of bombs and bullets. That's what I believe, and I said it
more
at the time.
More than they wanted to spend. Yeah,
I said it at the time, and all of this stuff that Trump has said since about World War II and bomb the F and the S out of you and all that stuff. It's been bluster trying to get whoever the leadership is to talk to him.
Right.
I think it's been pure
conjecture. Yeah,
you got to know when to hold them.
Theater.
Right.
Know when to fold them.
Yeah.
I think Trump has been playing.
But also, let me throw one more
serious
thing
poker with them.
No,
But you were saying he was being strung along.
He was. He absolutely.
Well, he's not playing good poker if he's being strung along.
Absolutely. Those two things can be true.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well,
they can string him along, and he's saying, "I'm gonna get you," when he's got nothing in his back pocket to get you with. He's got an empty back pocket. What are you going to get me with? They don't know that.
Just one last thing to throw in here. Watch what Israel does from this point forward.
Well, I said that earlier, that the Mossad can go in and they can take care of pickaxe.
Oh, yeah.
Overnight.
And Iran is soft now.
Netanyahu, because Netanyahu's been saying, no, we're not going to back off. This is, we're not going to let them continue.
And I can see where the Mossad's going to go in to pickaxe, and they're going to remove every bit of nuclear product that's down in there.
That's what I think the whole thing's about.
And then, again, whatever Iran wants to do with Hormuz doesn't matter at this point because all that oil is flowing through the pipeline.
Back to the beginning of the conversation.
Fine, whatever. Shut her down. I don't care.
It's definitely a success one way or the other. I mean, at this stage, no matter how it plays out in the media, it's a success.
Carter, Reagan, George H.W., Billy, George W., Barack Hussein, this last guy who was, I don't know.
The auto pen?
Yeah.
Whomever was the president for 4 years.
This president got us farther down the road than any of the others. More Ware and Rima coming up. KTSA, sunny and hot, upper 90s for the high. Right now. 9:22.
This is so weird. I'm going to talk about Paxton here in a second, but a little while ago when you were talking about Mount Everest and the dinosaurs and, all that stuff, I just, if you remember, just in passing, I just kind of tossed out there, oh, it's like the Far Side. Remember where the dinosaurs are smoking and looking around the corner, and that's really what killed the dinosaurs? I just mentioned the Far Side once, okay, audibly. Didn't type anything into my computer. Over the past 10 minutes, I have seen about half a dozen Far Side groups, advertisements, posts with Gary Larson comics on them. They're always listening, Trey. They're always listening to everything.
You think flock cameras are bad?
Man. The man is listening. They're always listening. That is so bizarre when you see it with your own eyes. Mm-hmm. I didn't type anything into this damn computer. It's my personal computer. I just mentioned the Far Side, and I've seen like 5 ads in the past 5 minutes. They're going to start chipping us in our sleep, Trey. At some point, they won't have to do it in our sleep. We'll willingly go get chipped because after the glasses get too bulky for people, after people want something that's a little more comfortable than the glasses, the virtual glasses, then they'll start implanting the chips.
All of those people who've been running over the flock cameras, they'll be the unchipped. And the rest of us will be standing in the line for the chip.
You might have the chip already.
Right!
You might have the chip already.
That was COVID. Man. If you got vaxxed.
The nano chip, they did it in the vaccine.
Jimmy, did you?
Nanotechnology.
You never got shot.
You never got it?
No, I never. I got COVID, but I never got the vax.
You're awesome.
Wow.
I wish I didn't have it, man.
We were just on the road, and there was sort of like no time, really. Only 2 guys out of 10 in the band were vaccinated.
Wow.
They injected us with nanotechnology.
Probably did.
I was going to talk about Ken Paxton and very interesting. I mean, you and I had the exact same reaction, and I haven't seen him on the campaign trail all that much over my time here in Texas. I've known him as the Attorney General, and I haven't seen him in full-bore campaign mode like I have recently. And we were talking. We have said, Tallarico for a while there was everywhere. The commercials were everywhere. He was everywhere. Where's Ken Paxton? And I watched most of the rally on Saturday at the Angry Elephant, which I know I used to talk for them actually when they first opened up years and years and years ago. And
so you were there. You went to the.
I didn't go, but I've been to the Angry Elephant a few times, but again, this was years ago.
So you watched it online.
I did. I watched it online, and you have Donna Campbell, who was amazing. We love Donna, but you have Dr. Donna Campbell got up there, and she had the greatest line, which was, "We can't lose Texas because there's no other Texas to move to." Was her line. It was a great line. Got a big old cheer. She talked for about 5 minutes. Then Brandon Herrera got up, and he's very, gung-ho, and he's a very passionate guy and charismatic guy. And then Paxton gets up. And Paxton spoke for about 20 minutes, and he was interrupted a couple times by people screaming, "You cheated on your wife," or "You're a pedophile protector." I think it was the last bunch of folks that they had to deal with. But, yeah, my initial response watching it, because I didn't disagree with anything he was saying. He was pointing out Tallarico's weirdness, talking about socialism and stuff like that. But, yeah, he is boring. And then I saw him on with, who was he? He was on not Meet the Press.
Maria Bartiromo.
Yeah, Fox News. That's right. I saw that interview. And, again, he's Dullsville, man. It sucks that we have to consider that. And it's interesting when you go back pre-television, and we always talk about the Nixon-Kennedy debate, that pre-television, when a lot of these debates, if you have a debate between 2 candidates who were trying to make their case, okay, people would hear it on the radio, and once TV, the visual came into it, it added a whole new component. And you really do have to be camera ready to a certain extent. He is very dry and not a lot of energy. And, I obviously admire him. I like him. I loved him as Attorney General. I'd like him to win this. We don't want Tallarico because he's one of them. He's just one of them. But Ken Paxton's got to up his game a bit, man.
Well, you said everything I said in the first hour, but I do want to come back and revisit this. We got to take a break because there's more I want to add to that.
Sure.
It's more than just being dull, which is bad enough, but there's more to that story I want to get into here in just a couple minutes. All right, more Ware and Rima coming up. Ware and Rima, KTSA, talking about Ken Paxton, who was finally out and talking about the job ahead, the task ahead. And he is correct. I mean, when he's talking about how, Tallarico has all kinds of money and was able to spend money leading up to this that he didn't have because he had to spend it all on getting rid of the fossil. And now, thank God, he got rid of the fossil, and the fossil's coming back. But this guy, he kind of looks kind of fossilized himself. And that is a problem. And look, bottom line is, somebody wrote in earlier and they said, well, I don't care if he's exciting or not. At least he's going to vote America first. Well, okay, I understand that. And that's true. I mean, fine. And a lot of this is going to be stylistic, but also politics has to do with selling yourself, right? And you have to project an air of confidence.
Oh, yeah.
And also a desire for this. I want this for you because I am going to win for you. And I got to have this so I can fix stuff for you. And he got into that interview with Maria Bartiromo yesterday, and they were 2.5 minutes into it. And she had to beg him to sell himself against Tallarico.
Don't reflect that. So make the case right now to our viewers and to those in Texas why your policies are very different from Tallarico's.
And then he starts talking about, well, Tallarico believes this and I believe that and all this stuff. Here we go.
Sure. I would say I don't think we agree on anything. We can look at the border, and he voted against every single bill that would have funded border security.
Okay, and then he runs kind of down the list that are in his ads. But 2.5 minutes into that interview, she had to beg him to make the case. In my view, you come right out because you got to act like the house is on fire.
Well, it's like what we do in radio, the going idea is that you kick off at the biggest story and you get right into it. It's the same thing with him. It's kind of a balancing act as well in that you want to be enthusiastic, you want to whip people up and get them passionate about you, but you also don't want to be disingenuous because I think people even, like pretend you're something you're not because people also see right through that. He was just Dullsville. I mean, there was no enthusiasm. You're right. In that interview, she pretty much had to drag him into talking about Tallarico when he was on stage at the Angry Elephant. If your opening act is much more interesting than you are, it's not going to help you.
Enthusiasm sells.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely.
And we live, like it or not, I don't care if you like this or not. This is the reality. We were in a 12-second world. We got to an 8-second world. Now we're in a 3-second world. You have to hit people the first 3 seconds in their mind or they're gone. They click out on you. That's why these videos that we do for the KTSA Facebook page, the ones that perform the best are the ones that are 15, 20, at the max 30 seconds long.
Right.
You get into minute and a half, 2 minutes or whatever, and you start to lose people. TikTok knows that.
Right.
That's why TikTok does what they do in 15 seconds. Ken Paxton is not that. And it looks like this is the way he came off yesterday to me, and if it came off this way to me, I know it did to a lot of other people as well. I don't give a crap. You know what? I'm here, and I'm running to be the senator from Texas, and I really don't care. And so here I am. And so, you want me to talk about myself and versus this guy? Oh, okay, all right. Well, he voted against border control, and he thinks that if you don't like trans people, then you suck. And wait a minute, man. Whatever the first question Maria asked, you see Democrats.
I don't even remember. I watched it. I don't even remember.
You see Democrats do this all the time. It doesn't matter what the first question is. It's economy. Yeah. Trump sucks. Economy. Right. Trump made a terrible economy, and it doesn't matter what
you pivot. Whatever the question is to your main point.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Right.
And so when she said, "Well, how was the price of tea in China?" Whatever she asked. You know what? This guy is absolutely the craziest loon you've ever seen in your life. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to guarantee for the people of Texas and the United States of America, A, B, C, we're going to keep that border shored up. We're making a lot of inroads on the economy. The economy is growing. Taxes are low. We don't want to reverse. We don't want to go backwards on any of this stuff. Boom, 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 boom. One after another.
Yeah.
Have it figured out and say it with enthusiasm.
He really didn't get to the meat of anything until the very end. And you're right. It did feel like she was having to drag it out of him.
Terrible candidate.
And again, I go back to the angry elephant where, everybody outshined him. Everybody that took that stage had more, was more dynamic than he was.
Terrible candidate.
Yeah.
And really, he's got all the personal stuff that he's got to overcome. So knowing that, which he knows, obviously, that's an anchor on his butt, that he's got all that personal stuff. He needs to even go further with what I'm going to do for you, man. None of that's, hey, guys, none of that stuff matters. I'm going to kick ass and take names for you.
Yeah. So I said earlier, that was my thought when I'm watching him again here in town, is that his two biggest weaknesses are his own personality and the personal baggage. He's boring, and he's got this personal stuff that people can dredge up. They had hecklers at the Angry Elephant who were doing just that. So I don't like Tallarico. I think he's a scumbag. I don't want him representing Texas, obviously, in the Senate. I think he's horrible for Texas and horrible for the country. But Ken, baby, you got to amp it up a little, man.
Well, I tell you what, man, I'm to the point now where I'm looking at what John Thune did and dismissing everybody for 37 days, and then doing preventing any kind of recess appointments by these pro forma sessions that they're going to have. It's criminal. I'm almost to the point of saying, all you Republicans, just I got nothing for you. I got nothing for you anymore. Because look at who they are and look at what they're doing. This is how it's going.
I think they've revealed themselves. You're really seeing the other face of the swamp and this hesitancy and this actually blocking of the Save America Act, which has been routinely described as a no-brainer, and yet it's not happening.
Somebody like Ken Paxton needs to realize what Jack was talking about on Friday, and I'm going to ask him about this coming up, and that is the economy, the economy, the economy. And although Trump has slowed the rate of growth of inflation, right? That doesn't matter to somebody who's paying $20 for a burrito. It doesn't. It doesn't matter. Or $4.50 for a gallon of gasoline or whatever it is. Elaine and I were just talking about somebody in town that's a very well-known celebrity who's very wealthy saying, boy, I finally got a break on my gas. It's down to $4.30 now. Somebody who can afford high-priced gasoline all day long.
Right.
So it affects everybody. And Jack's comment on Friday stuck with me all weekend, meaning, okay, so it doesn't matter that they're socialists on the left, Democrats. It doesn't matter what they've done on the left. It's just time to give the other guy a shot at fixing this because we're now, a year and a half into Donald Trump, and it ain't fixed yet. So, you know what? Let's give the other guys a shot at it.
And, you know how that pendulum swings. So if the pendulum is swinging towards the other direction and you're paying a lot for gas, a lot of people are probably going to make that choice.
Well, that's
unfortunate. We're going to lose the whole damn thing.
Well, that's my point about Paxton. He has to realize that. This is code red, baby. Code red.
House is on fire, man.
You are playing. Well, I just said that a minute ago.
I guess you did.
You are playing from behind. You need to act like it, Kenneth. You need to act like it's the fourth quarter. There's a minute left, and you're playing from behind.
I didn't get a big old enthusiasm factor from him over the weekend, just watching him both at the rally and on the interview.
Just show me you want it.
Yeah.
Just show me you want it. And I looked at him, and this is true. I told you earlier, I see his ads or his videos that he puts up online, and he's not even mic'd up. He's not even wearing a microphone. So you can't hear the guy. It sounds like third graders did the thing.
Another thing is the AI ads that are they're popping up. It's in our newscast. They're popping up that are against Tallarico and him. His AI ads make him look sexier and more exciting.
Than he really is. Yeah, I mean, so he's got a bunch of headwind against him. He needs to figure that out and get serious about it because, you lose it to Tallarico, baby. Go right ahead and watch how crazy stuff gets.
Oh, my
watch
God,
how nuts this gets.
Yeah, I was frankly surprised at the lack of energy and, from Paxton, given what's at stake here. And maybe he's like a lot of the other Republicans we talked about, that at the end of the day, they're not really too concerned about the status quo remaining or the bad guys taking over as long as they're on the defense. I don't know.
That's a bad move. All right, quick break. More Ware and Rima coming up at New Bath. Yeah. Uh-huh. All right, it's 9:50. We're Ware and Rima, KTSA. Jack Riccardi, the professor, is joining us. And Jack, once again, listening to you as I left here on Friday, and I've been talking about this all morning. It stuck with me all weekend. You were talking about that, the economy and $20 burrito and all that kind of stuff we were talking about at the end of the week last week, and how at some point people don't really care if you're a socialist, whatever that means to them, or you're maybe a communist, whatever that means. They're just ready to let the other guy have a chance at trying to fix the fact that when they go to the grocery store or to the gas pump, it's way too expensive, and the Republicans need to start thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was great.
Well, they need to stop denying that that's a problem. They throw people like Kevin Hassett out there to talk about numbers that are probably real. I mean, I don't. He knows what he's talking about, but it's not. That's not the economy people are experiencing.
Right. And so if you guys didn't hear the Friday morning at 10 a.m., go to the KTSA page and pull up the podcast and listen to it, because it was the most succinct way I've heard that put. And I wish that every Republican candidate, including Ken Paxton, would listen to it and get the word out.
Yeah, I almost wonder, I don't mean to sound like Debbie Downer, but it may already be too late. I mean, I don't know that they can, in what do we have now, like 80 days? I don't know that they can suddenly turn into the, oh, yeah, we get it. Yes, you're right, people. I mean, I think the best thing they have going for them, really, and you've said this many times, is how crazy their opponents are, but I don't think they have a message that's going to be of any use, between now and then.
Kind of, I guess, handicap the Paxton and Tallarico thing for us. We've been talking about that this morning, the lack of enthusiasm that Ken Paxton has. Looks like he doesn't even give an S, like, I don't even want this job or whatever.
Yeah, isn't it weird?
Yeah.
It is.
So what do you think? I mean,
you would expect a guy that primaried a decades-long incumbent, you'd expect him to be like fire in the eyes and like, you can't shut me up about how important this is. He sounds like a guy that's just been called in and assigned a new territory.
Willie Loman.
Like, you're now our Midwestern regional manager. Okay.
Yeah.
When do I start?
That's great.
I was surprised. I mean, you never let your opening act outshine you. I mean, Donna Campbell was great. She had a great line about Texas, and there's no other Texas to move to, Brandon Herrera. And then he gets up, and it's Snoozeville. I mean, the hecklers were the most interesting thing about him.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I
don't know what to make of that. I really don't. I mean, I'm watching the whole thing in the beginning, and I'm like, isn't Wesley Hunt in any other state? Wouldn't he just be like running away with this?
Yes.
He had energy, charisma.
Yeah.
He experienced, like, I don't get what was, and usually, let's face it, let's be honest, I'm just going to say it, Republicans love to prove that they're not racist. So I would have thought and I think Wesley Hunt thought that too, and he couldn't get arrested. He couldn't get any traction at all.
Nope.
Jack, were you aware also? I mean, we had a big old helping of AOC over the weekend. Were you aware? Were you aware that her eggs? Yes. Were you aware that the only thing separating socialism from communism is in fact democracy?
I'm so hung up on the eggs. Honestly, I kept hoping that the needle was going in the right place, and I'm on pins and needles myself now about how this is going to turn out. Because I want there to be a lot of little AOCs, running around.
That's what I said earlier. I can't. She's fine.
I figure like the 4 names, right? Like 2 hyphens, 4 names, all told.
Yes.
So that should be exciting. No, hey, when you have to disavow, when you're not yet like 40, and you already have to disavow a previous version of yourself, that's impressive. That's like that guy who was it? Was it Obama or somebody that had written like 2 autobiographies before they were 50?
Obama.
It was Obama, I think. Yeah,
that's impressive.
Yeah, well,
I must say.
Because woke number 1 just didn't work out.
Woke number 1. So are we on a temporary version of AOC?
Yeah, we are.
Is this I don't know now.
Yeah. I absolutely, and that's a great point right there. That's it, right? That's the whole point. I absolutely.
But even when you have to disavow like 9/11 stuff, like imagine being in the position of going, Yeah, except for what he said about 9/11, I like the guy.
Right, right. That's exactly right. I love the AI stuff they're doing with her, where she's actually freezing eggs in her freezer because it's AOC. Yeah. So she's taking a carton of eggs. She's like, somebody told me I should freeze my eggs so that I can use them later.
Absolutely, I could see that. I could see her doing that.
I could see her freezing like
this is the DEI. The DEI era is not producing big brains. We know that. We spent a lot of time the last 2 weeks talking about this professor over in England. DEI. Don't be surprised when DEI produces dummies.
Right. For sure.
And tomorrow's going to be Francesca Hong night. That'll be fun. She's another brainiac, deep-thinking weirdo.
So it's fun to watch Bernie Sanders kind of maneuver around her. At first, he hadn't paid any attention, didn't know who she was. Now he knows who she is, and she's got a couple of good ideas. But, normally he'd be draped all over her.
Well, last week it was, I'm not with her, she's crazy.
I don't have time for.
And then this past weekend, he was asked, what do you think about her position? Yeah. Well, that doesn't sound bad at all. That's not a bad position at all. Well, Bernie, which is it, bud? What?
Trey, people sick and tired of hearing about a damn Wisconsin governor's race.
That's right. Right.
They're just lost in the wilderness, man. That's how it comes off. They're just with the socialists on the creep. The rest of them, the establishment, they just feel lost in the woods, man.
Very weird.
Well, they would just like to be in charge. Could we just skip to the part where they run everything?
Where they run everything.
Look, they can't be bothered to explain, Sean. This is you little people would never understand.
You're not nuanced enough.
Just put us in charge, okay?
They actually believe that.
I know
what
they
you're
saying
saying is exactly the way it is.
I want to be in the room, but seriously, I want to be in the room right now where the WNBA is coming up with its definition of a woman.
Well,
that meeting must be interesting.
These guys, Royce and these guys that are signing up, they're actually going to get a rule written where no biological men will be allowed to play. They're doing it. This is a great move on their part.
It is a great move.
But I said
first it sounded absurd, but when you realize this is all it had to come to this.
That's absolutely. And I'd love for them to do it in boys, girls track and field as well. But I said this earlier too. This is beginning to look like so nobody. We weren't talking about WNBA. Nobody was talking about WNBA. Caitlin Clark comes along, and there's a little bit of attention, but still nobody's talking about it till all the controversy, Sophie Cunningham's finger, and everything else catches on. And now they have decided to take this a little roller derby and wrestling so that they can take this as far as they can go. More clicks, more eyes watching. Not that this cold clock the other night wasn't. Not that it wasn't real, but, man, they're playing this thing up now. It's roller derby. It really is. It's like Saturday night.
Or NHL. Yeah. NHL, the NHL during its lean years kind of played up the fact that, you should come to the game or watch the game. There might be a fight.
Right.
That's sad, though, in a sense. That it really is, because they were getting, people were suddenly paying attention to them because of her basketball. Talking about Caitlin Clark, her abilities, and of course, like everything else these days, it's got to go tawdry and melodramatic and fingers and pointing.
Sean, could you pass the Dijonais? I can't quite reach it.
The Dijonais.
Is that her name? Dijonais?
Oh, go! This prep school lady? Girl who's like, no,
guys, we're in Texas. It's Dijon.
Dijon.
Dijon's her name. We're in Texas, y'all.
Dijon.
I'm going to go look her up in the Oxford Dictionary.